seasick. No, it's bringing back tons and tons of memories. That's everything. The Chow Hall, I know where everything is up there. That picture that we're taking on me was right there at that corner.
Serving our country with pride and something that had to be done. We're on an earthly vessel also, not just the wood. And this earthly vessel goes on. These shipmate brothers have been transferred to a heavenly vessel. And someday, maybe if we get that transfer paper, we'll be joining them. But till then, we need to make the best of the time we have on the earthly vessel that we've been blessed to stay here with. Looking after each other, sharing with love for each other, enjoying the fellowship and camaraderie that we have. Having been on the same ship at one time, we should remember all of this and keep it in mind.
Farewell, my brothers.
This was the engineering officers.
So is this ship exactly like the wood, or
So far, it's exactly like
Okay.
it. Yeah, this whole passageway and everything is exactly the way I remember it. But the engineering officer who took care of all the engines and machine shop, machining and all that stuff, this is what he worked in.
Those are the guys that fixed.
We walked the passages, and when the ship would really roll, you put your foot up there like this, or like this. So we rolled sideways. Then when the ship leveled out, you hurry up and ran over here and got this side. You ran over here and got this. And over here and got this. You zigzagged until you got where you needed to go.
how many times did you bonk your head real hard or stub your toe?
I don't ever recall hitting my head on anything. I fell a few times, you know, because I didn't coordinate it right, but never got hurt.
This is the ship's store?
This is a ship store. Yeah. If you needed anything, what little bit they had was right here. They cassette tapes with music on it.
Oh yeah.
Cigarettes for $4 a carton. You know, little stuff like that. It's only open like an hour a day.
What did you buy from here mostly?
I bought a cassette tape with music on it because everybody's listening to music, and I thought I should too. And come to find out it wasn't the right kind of music I should be listening to. I was corrected with it. But they changed things here a little bit because I slept down here. Oh no, it didn't change. This is right. It just said it's not open.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a compartment where I slept. It's all boarded up for some reason, so I don't know if I'll go get back there. Climbed these steps 1,000 times, thousands of times, yeah. Yeah. One time we docked and rode to Spain, and there was a whole bunch of wine at the end of the dock, and we threw a line over, and somebody went and tied a whole bunch of bottles of wine on there, and we pulled it up so no one would see us, and we drank it up there. We got so careless, all the bottles and stuff broke, and there was wine running down the side of the ship and everything, all red wine.
Did you get drunk that day?
No, but I helped him drink, but I didn't get drunk. No. This is where you release the anchors from. Yeah. This is a winch to pull the anchor back up. And it was wicked. when a several ton anchor fell, there was sparks flying all over from the chain and everything. It was going out there so fast. There was a break, you had to slow it down.
What is the front of the ship called?
Well, this is would be the forecastle.
Is that the name on the front of the ship?
The forecastle, and then you got your aft. Yeah.
So, what are these called?
Those are 5-inch 38s. You got 2 aft, and you got 4 on the forecastle.
So when you say they would practice shoot them, you would hear it because you were right up there.
I'll show you where I was at. Yeah.
So what comes out of these?
5-inch 38 projectiles. 5 inches in diameter, 38 inches long. And there's a big powder keg that goes behind them. I think we can look in them. In really rough seas, this would all be secured because water would be pouring right up through here and back through there, be this deep.
Oh,
Oh
really?
yeah, it would wash you right off. I show you the door that I opened up during rough seas. I wasn't supposed to, and almost sank this old girl.
Are there?
No, I take that back. That's the captain's gig.
What's the captain's
That's
name?
the captain's gig. Yeah,
What
he
is
got
that?
a special boat in case he needed to go off the ship for some reason.
Is this the back side of one of those?
No, this is the forecastle. This is one that does the nosedive. There's 2 guns. No, you only have one here. Only one. But they changed that hatch and put a glass window in there so you can see in there, but they're not letting us in there for some reason. There's the ship's bell. During fog time, you rang that. About every minute, you had to ring the bell.
Just why?
Fog, so people could hear us. Yeah.
So what's this called again, Dad? What is this?
We wash dishes.
Did it have a name? The dishwashing area?
I don't know. I don't recall a name. What do we call this area? Just a dishwashing area.
Yeah, it's just that's all it is.
But not many of these plates were set on these tables in here in rough seas. They slid right off the table and onto the floor. So you had to hold on to
Because
the,
when,
you held on to your plate and you ate at the same time. You never let go.
Because when the weather was the worst, right? That's when they cook all the greasy food.
Make it
So you
worse.
come down here like, oh my God. You know, you come down here, get your food, go out there, eat, and then you come in here and drop off your tray.
There's a head right in that door. There used to be a head there.
That's the chief's quarters down there. But there could be a head.
Maybe it's
there
over
would be
there.
There would be a head
'Cause
down there. There would be a head.
my first day on board, it was rougher than hell. And I was eating down here and everybody was teasing me, saying, oh, Pollywog, you're looking a little green. And I toughed it out. Man, I could felt that food coming up.
Tell you, it's,
So I hurried up and put my tray away and I went right into that bathroom and puked.
Well, I'll tell you what, because there's somebody probably up on the bridge, one of the helmsmen, young guys, right, trying to see how far they can get the thing to
Roll in.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
You can tell by the back of the ship.
Well, yeah, and there's a gauge up there that shows you.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was my station, even though, so I'd be up on the bridge.
This was our mess hall. This is where 300 people ate. Seriously. Yeah, it is pretty close to what it was. Yeah. I think the very first time I was eating, I was sitting right here. On our ship, that was the bathroom right there on the other side of that.
That's the bathroom.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, it's a passageway. You go in there, then you make a quick left. Right there was the bathroom.
Smaller than I imagined it.
This is where we come in, where we got served, is right here. So they'd have the food lined up in the trays, and we come through there and grab a tray, and they'd slap it on your tray, and we come in here and eat. And when I was hot bunking, when I first came on, it was down there.
Oh.
They put me down there and they try to find a bunk. Yeah, you can see all the racks down there.
The what?
All the racks, all the bunks. And I was all the way over in that corner. Very lowest one, first night I slept here. Yeah. That's what was left on there, those canvas racks. I just hope there wasn't a fat guy above it. And you couldn't turn over on your shoulder because you hit them. So you had to stay on your back or crawl in on your belly. There was no changing once you got in. Even as skinny as I am, if there was somebody really heavy, because they would sink.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
couldn't pick your knees up.
Yeah.
You know, that was our
So-
library. We had a library similar to that too.
Did you read any books?
No. No. This was never here.
No pop on the shed?
No. No, we didn't have that. Thank you for the work you're putting into
Oh,
this.
absolutely. Are you guys eating down here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll see you down here.
These are the types of things where this is one area if the ship was heading really, really rough and going up and down. Now remember, we're on the forecastle, so this is the thing that takes the beating up here. If you can get this thing on the way down, you can take yourself and pull yourself up and land up there. As the ship is coming down, you pull yourself up and you go doop, like that, and you really don't even move in a sense because the ship is coming down and you're just kind of pulling yourself
Okay.
up. Yeah.
Demonstrate.
The ship's not moving. Duncan hiding. This is cool.
She's loving it.
Yeah, this is cool. You been down to the mess decks yet?
Yep.
What is that, Dad?
This is the officers' wardroom where they ate. You can look at theirs. You can see it's much different than where we ate.
Oh, wow.
This is the mess deck over here. When they said, what did we have a child this morning? We said eggs to order. And then all of a sudden we hit into the damn storm and stuff like that. And the cook would be in there hollering and screaming.
This was one of the wardroom pantry. The officers had their own cook
Yeah.
and their own kitchen.
I assumed so.
This is our kitchen where they cooked right here. This was where they cooked everything for the 263 people. Everything came out of here. And it went downstairs into the cafeteria.
Right. And the kitchen was called the galley?
This is a galley. Yeah, ship's galley. Yeah. Full of Filipinos.
You had Filipino cooks?
I think
mostly?
all Filipinos except for one. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite dish you would look forward to, like Pizza Friday or something?
Actually, I look forward to the sliders.
They had little hamburgers?
Hamburgers are really greasy and they slid down. That's why we call them sliders. And we drink them with a bowl of bug juice.
Bowl.
Bug
Sure, it
juice
was just
and
a bowl
sliders.
of Kool-Aid, right?
Kool-Aid, but it was a treat to get that. It was a real treat. This was the line to get in the chow hall.
Yeah.
Right here.
300 people every lunch, approximately?
No,
No, shit.
you just waited till the line goes down and another bunch would come in, the line would go down, another bunch. You just waited. Sometimes it'd be, if we've been eating sea rations for a long time, which means if it's really, really rough, you don't eat down there because they can't cook during really rough seas.
Yeah.
So then when they can cook,
Okay,
everybody's
great.
lined up ready for a hot
Thank
meal.
you. They're gonna open the bridge.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, she just said so.
That's the guy that's going to help us. Let's go up there. Right? sitting here. I pulled myself up and I was just sitting
Oh yeah,
here.
yeah. Sounds like
And
you.
second class postmate come in here and yank my ass down off of there because he's scared I was gonna fall out. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I had my elbows, you know. It kind of made me mad. I was pretty comfortable. Yeah, I was sitting right there in this one. I was in charge of this for a while and I screwed myself up because we had to paint the decks up there. This is non-skid. And I actually read the labels on how to do it. And you have to really stir the stuff up really, really good before you put it down on the decks.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of the shit didn't. And they had to redo it because it all peeled back up. Mine stayed down tight
Oh.
because I read it and I stirred it really good. We had to redo it. And they wanted to know who it was. And,
Yeah.
you know, my chief said, it was Beecham, you know, he's really good and blah, blah, blah. So they put me in charge of this thing because I'd done so well and I had to make sure everybody was instructed how to do it. And it is an absolute nightmare inside there because the ship rolls and paints come loose and it was just awful. I had to clean it all up and get it straightened out. But I did.
Mm-hmm.
I was in there for about 3 months.
Well, let's go.
You slide down. I could do that still probably.
Yeah, you're right there.
All you do is from up there, you get down to the bottom.
This is Dad explaining the ASRAC machine. It launches missiles into the water to get submarines underneath the sea. It holds 8 missiles. ASRAC stands for Anti-Submarine Rocket.
End up hanging, if you're out here, you hung on
In
to something.
'76, we took on so much water, and we went down that boiler smokestack
Oh,
right
really?
there, and it
Now-
put out the smokestack. But we had the aft still
We didn't-
grown for us. If it wasn't for that, we would have.
We were out
would've
in the
rolled
Atlantic.
over.
I think it was the Bacon too.
This is where the captain would sleep in the event of
all the electronics.
emergencies, where you had to be close to the bridge. We'll go downstairs and show you where his regular cabin is, but if he had to be close for some reason, he stayed here, which is really, really close to the bridge. And there's even little, that's how we talk to each other. See that little bronze, little cone thing in there? We'd shout through, there's one up here, we'd shout through it and talk to him through that. Because you never had to depend on electric. Because if the power went out, you still had to communicate. Thank you for this. This is a real treat letting us up here.
You're welcome. But again, you can see why we got to do it this way.
Yeah.
We got to do it this way. We just can't allow people up here.
No, I totally understand.
I spent all my time.
Right here. This was my post. This was the quartermaster's.
Oh, you were quartermaster? Okay.
Yeah.
I was navigator
You were the navigator?
Mhm.
An old,
on Cano.
no, I mean Officer 03, 04?
I started off as an 02 and left the ship as an 03.
Okay.
Retired
And
as an
a
05.
navigator. So this would have been my officer that I would have reported to.
You know, this is what we call the long glass. I can't remember what we called that one. Anyway, that's reading system. I know that we had a long glass, so I mean, we had the big one.
seeing it.
Oh yeah, we had it out. We had
Remember the
it-
ship rolls we were talking about? That's what measured the rolls right up there. Yeah. We buried that thing several times.
Now our chart taking was right here and it faced out, but you plotted to look out. And
our chart room would have been like
our
right,
chart room was
right
where
behind the
Where it should have been.
yeah, right behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, our chart room was right there, and we mostly did select when we weren't piloting, you know, within either radar or visual piloting. We did celestial navigation all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
That's all we had.
I mean, we had morning stars, morning sunlines, local parent noon, afternoon sunlines, evening stars. You know, and then we'd have to, every now and then we'd have to do an aspect on the gyro repeaters to check the gyro repeaters. Yeah, we did all that. I got a tour of it. That's what Captain picture tell me. He said, you know, the enemy can't get in stars. You know, so.
Good point.
EM2T right to the Kremlin.
And when we were in board and no officers around, these guys.
That's where I was standing when that picture was taken, where my mouth was open, I was yawning. I was standing behind that gyroscope. When he was a navigator, when he would say mark, I had to say exactly how many degrees that landmark was away, like 273, and mark, and he would chart it on here, going into real tight places. I'm not allowed to.
Oh, no!
Only the captain. We had to keep it clean though.
Oh yeah, all this brass should be
We
shining.
clean the leather.
You're right. Yeah.
Every day we shine.
Every morning on the.
All right, Captain.
He's gonna be in the brig.
Hey, Chief.
If anybody wants to also see Combat Information Center, I just opened that up.
CIC is
Oh, okay.
CIC is open. But that's
I got a picture of this.
tight compartment, so there's a couple of people in there right now.
one of the guys that we had to salute.
Oh, okay.
No, but in all reality, you were.
Only person you saluted every day was the captain on board.
Yeah.
You didn't salute on board, but the
Going down
captain did.
the sidewalk, we did.
Oh yeah. But I'm talking about on the CO. On the ship, you didn't salute except for the captain. You saluted the
These are called binnacle balls. And this
Also
is a magnetic compass in here, which wasn't real accurate, but it's okay.
little more left, right.
So if we lost the gyro, we could always go back to the magnetic. And these balls is what kept the outside interference from interfering with the magnetic.
And all this brass should be gleaming.
Yeah, I had to polish all that. There was no paint either, it was all brass.
The morning, I was thinking the morning watches, the ones that did the brass.
Dad, were you wearing that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was wearing.
And that was, who did you communicate with?
With
The navigator?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to see it?
And that's what we shot the stars with. This was our sextant. We'd be out here in the catwalks. So there's chronometers down in the chart room, 3 chronometers which are clocks that are winding. And every day we had to check it with a Greenwich Mean Time to make sure within a second we knew exactly where it was. Because if you were 1 second off the shooting, you're about 200 feet away from where you really are in 1 second. So when they say mark your star, it hit the stopwatch, so we know exactly what time it was at that star and what the section read, and then we did a ton of math with it. And we'd shoot like 6 stars, and hope 3 of them would connect. And that's where we were. The other 2 may be way over here or way over there.
Do you think you could still use it in a pinch if you had to?
No. This is what we use for azimuth. We put that on a gyroscope, and we could shoot the sun with it, and it'd tell us where we are during the daytime. If there was no sun and it was cloudy at night, we had no idea.
What'd you do? Just kind of stay place?
They call it. We just, if the ship turned to a certain course, we're going this fast, we'd say, well, this is where we're supposed to be, and it turned again, this direction, this is where we are. Then when you finally get a fish, you say, this is where our dead reckoning is, but this is where we really are. It's kind of close. You found a chart in a drawer? Absolutely.
This is where I did all my work.
This brought back a lot.
DMB for GQ.
Parallel motion protractor.
Yeah, okay. I already looked through that.
They laugh at us nowadays. They want us to go.
You can have that.
You got any questions, I'll say around place.
Oh yeah. Oh, in fact, they might.
You can lay it on top of here. You can go.
They got all kind of charts in here. I'm really getting back into this now. It does.
Your general quarters, which is in potential wartime, quartermaster was behind the helm.
But I've been working
You had a
on
gyrometer
for a
here.
long time.
This is an electric wheel, keeping track
I
of
have to
your
come through a
direction.
fault.
You have your
Somebody trust me with the keys.
So
So I can open up.
This thing used to steer really hard because it was cable. This ain't even cooked up now. This is cable. I mean, you had to muscle this
I'll
thing.
get people to it.
Muscle it back.
Because they don't really have doses.
You had 2 buttons too.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to screw it. This is hard for center back then. And then this is for the lead helm. If the captain wanted to, or the officer of the deck wanted to go faster or slower or something, he would from here, and then this is the revolution. So
Standard. There was 2 other Gary class ships built after us. The 89.
yeah. Throttle. This is the throttle.
That's where you go.
Yeah.
The CIC's open if you haven't been in there.
Is this the logbook you had to write down
Yes.
your stuff, Dad?
Yes. Every command we had to write down as a quartermaster. Everything.
If I had the security watch, I'd have to call up every hour.
Everything had to be logged in.
Every hour to tell them everything's
Oh, the Blue Nose
secure.
ceremony?
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't make it. We were up north too. We weren't far from the Arctic Circle. We did a North Atlantic cruise. We were up in Thurso, which is up in the Inverness. It's way up there. Probably a day's ride. We would have been across the circle. Yeah, that's the captain's chair.
What are you doing?
The captain's chair.
Nice. How did you get up in there?
Got it?
This is if you see a ship in the horizon, you can put it on there and say, we got a ship spotted at 030. It'll tell you where it is. This is also where we put things on, mostly out there though, to check the azimuths during the sun. Never here was it on the bridge wings.
View from up here.
All the lights in here that you see are red. They're all red.
Why?
Because you can't see red at night as much as you can a white light. So everything wasn't red.
You also had some. Did the captain have a chair on the outside too?
Yeah,
He
there's
did.
one outside.
Is there one there?
Yeah, that's why I asked.
So
And I don't
does
see
this
one
chair
there.
not turn then?
It turns. It turns.
Oh, you have to really push it.
Yeah, because you don't want to turn easy, but
I just see if there's a red
So
ball
what
in
is this
there.
over here?
that's all the command boards.
Okay.
I don't think any of this works.
There used to be a
Everything we put on here.
mic. We had to do reveille up here.
When things happen.
Don't you love
What's
it
Rebel?
when they
Come in
do
here with a
things
whistle.
And, you know, it wasn't all electronic, right? You had to fill this stuff in. Somebody told me you
Yeah.
had to fill this stuff in.
Water go
This
right
thing.
over this bridge.
No,
Man,
You
it
should
wasn't
go
unusual to
right
see
over
this thing
there.
over here.
She went down.
And this is stationary.
Was crossing the North Atlantic.
This is gravity effect, so if the ship would roll
See the wave coming
like that,
crashing right
and it'll tell you how much of it can
Pull
do.
the watches
But if you're
on the
really
outside,
out there
you
far,
everybody
you
else.
weren't looking at that. You were holding on,
Oh, okay.
You gotta have
whatever
some
you could hold
nerve.
on to.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, you up here, you end up over there.
Yeah.
So even the helmsman was holding on, doing this.
Did you hear the chart when these opened
You know
up?
where the Stowry was, where the
What is the-
Charlie was, and then the-
What's-
This would connect out there.
Look into the water gate, there's finished
And you
doing
put
that.
the officer decks out there.
So you can see in the
He'd
water.
say
they
something, you'd have to
just
repeat
did it
that.
about a month
He'd say
ago.
right rudder, a rudder eye.
Yeah, that stuff
The
down
right
there,
rudder,
all
5
around,
degrees,
all
stop.
around down there.
So were you a navigator?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a quartermaster, which worked in navigation.
Very cool.
The navigator was an officer, and I wasn't an officer. I was the grunt.
But you were the important peg in the column.
We all were.
Yes. Yes, everyone was.
Yeah.
Every crew member. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
But there's only about 4 of us aboard the ship, quartermasters, and we had to take care of all the navigation.
They had to make sure we didn't get lost at sea.
Yeah, which we were lost quite a bit, but we always find out where we were. Just took a little time.
Very cool.
Using
Nice.
navigation charts.
Right there, you blow.
This is the horn? Right there, this is the handle?
Yep.
Did you ever get to pull it?
Oh yeah. 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 In fog, you had to every so often that and ring the bell. There's phones right here. Remember I told you nothing is electric? So if you wanted to talk to a certain department, you click it on there, really hard, and it would ring down there, and then you can talk to somebody. So in case you lost power, you still had communication with the engine room. So that's ringing somewhere on the ship. If they picked it up, we could talk.
What is this big chart?
Oh, sorry.
I don't remember what we used this for. We had something like this, and it was red light going. I don't remember much about it. Yeah, this is where I live. Yeah. This is where I work.
Yeah, right.
8 to 12 hours a day. Sometimes longer. Sometimes 16 hours a day.
7 days a week, or did you get days off?
Not at sea. There's
No point. What would you really do anyway, right?
Huh?
There's nowhere to go and enjoy yourself anyway.
Play checkers.
Give us
At sea, you always had to be always working.
With each one of these speeds, there was
Captain and I and a couple other guys talking about CDs, because CDs were kind of new at the time for your car. The captain was interested in getting a CD, and I asked him, I said, what would your handle be if you got a CD? And
Who would determine that? They told you 1/3.
and he just evil came in his eyes, like it was really weird. We all kind of looked at each other, what's wrong with this guy, man? And he ended up being proven that he was insane at the end. The executive officer had to take over command of the ship. This is called the Combat Information Center, and those big radar things you see up on the mast turning, this is what it picks up in here. It can pick up land, aircraft, they can even floating under right circumstances. Yeah. Search a lot of times for bodies in the water from other ships that were lost, and he sent us to go try to find them. Yeah, but this is all ancient stuff now today. But this is, they also did their own navigation, but they did it by radar. Or we did ours by stars. They did it by radar when we were close enough to land. But they were really good navigators. So. But they thought they were. I'd spend a lot of time in here because we were friends, and when we were just steaming, you know, straight line, trying to go maybe across the Atlantic or something, I'd come back here and we just sit back here and shoot the breeze, you know, kick our feet up and talk, and because it was just steaming late at night, nobody around. If they needed me, they just had to holler, "Quartermaster." I could be there in a second.
How many other quartermasters were on the ship?
We had 4, and bear in mind, you had 24/7. We had to always take turns, so always one up here, a 4-hour shift, and then 4-hour shift, 4-hour shift, and then another 4-hour shift. So you got every 12 hours you're taking a 4-hour shift plus working all day. When you get to midnight till 4 in the morning one, and you got to get up at 5:30, you know.
Why would you have to get up at 5:30 if you worked
to eat
in the
and
middle of the night?
It didn't matter. You got a chance to eat and then muster. You had to do a roll call in the morning, make sure you didn't fall overboard. So at 7 o'clock you had to be already there at the roll call and make sure you're accounted for, and then you went to work.
When you say went to work, I thought quartermaster was your work.
It was my work.
Oh, okay.
But that was updating charts, polishing brass, painting, even the decks when they got rusty out there. Doing the weather, we had it pretty good, but nobody messed with us. We had it pretty good. Other departments were working their tail off. especially the boatswain mates. So they keep the whole ship tidy. You know, it's a big chore for them. Yeah, this is the CIC. This is really dependent on them for aircraft coming at us. And they would alert the captain, and then they general quarters. When they said general quarters and they sounded the alarm, you ran to your spot. You dove through these hatches. You know, notice up here they're doors.
Yeah.
They're just regular doors with doorknobs on it. If the water gets this high, it ain't gonna matter. So they use just regular doors. All the hatches down there are all secure. We try to keep the water from coming up this high. So it always freak people out to come up here and see doors with handles on them on a ship. But that's the reason why. If the water is this high, they ain't gonna do anything. They ain't gonna worry about it anyway. See that door handle.
Yeah.
But down there, the bottom deck, everything is all secured with security lugs.
This would have been state-of-the-art equipment
Back-
at some point in time. I don't know what year they brought this in. But
It was pretty good. Even though it was old, it was still good. They kept it updated, yeah.
Yeah.
They always change the radars out, put the most modern ones on it.
Right. But again,
Upgrading it.
the Constitution that we saw, that old sail ship, nothing.
Right. This was the quartermaster shack or the chart room. This is where we kept all the charts current. Was in here, and they were all filed away. And the timekeeping right there underneath that glass is called chronometers, and there's 3 of them, and they were on binnacles. I think they call them binnacles, so that the clock would always stay level. The ship could go all over the place, but this would always stay perfectly level because it was on every direction. It was always covered because you didn't want to take a chance of losing time, because time was everything with shooting the stars. So they had 3 of them, so in case one broke down you still have another 2. And every morning we had to get on the phone with the radio people, and they connect us with Greenwich Mean Time, when they would say at the time it would be 2:57 and 20 seconds, beep, and we had to compare that to these chronometers, and if it was 20 seconds ahead we had to know that this clock is 20 seconds fast. So when we set the stopwatch, we knew it was 20 seconds fast. So we clicked, and then we go out there and shoot stars based off of these clocks. Yeah, and we were in charge of all the clocks on the ship. See the sextant up there? That's a Loran.
Yeah, we have to go back down.
Up there. This was the captain's quarters, which is right next to us. So we had to always be quiet and behave here. Although sometimes we'd sit down on the floor and we'd gamble down there. And we'd really be quiet. We'd sitting there losing our money or winning money down there.
Playing dice or
Huh?
what were you gambling? Dice?
Money.
Cards? Dice?
No, cards. Cards. We'd be playing like
We're
21.
going down to there.
All kinds of poker down
So
there.
this is here like
But
this.
4 of
we're
us would
going
sit
to
right there on the
boardroom?
floor
Is it like special?
and gamble.
So is this Loran?
Loran is up
Yeah,
there.
it's like
This
nice
one
and
the
high.
officers ate over.
There's a little machine up there.
Oh, right there.
And that would send a signal when you're close to shore to help you, but it would never work. Never ever worked. We always give you bad information. Every time. Yeah. You can put a funny sign on there, something about a monkey can't even operate this or something. It's just bad. But sometimes the ship would take a roll. All that stuff in there would fall.
Never done it. You gotta memorize it.
Stuff would fall up there.
And so you had to
Come in
give the
here and
name.
throw
Basically
stuff
tell
on
them
the floor
there's
and put it all back up there.
That was the
And there's an anti-magnetic switch in here that would make the ship where a magnet would stick to it. It would throw a signal off, and the mine would.
God.
We drive through a minefield and it would push the mine away.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they
I
needed
forgot
to
what
know
that was
that
called,
information
but
that
that was
everybody
controlled.
knows.
There's a fathometer back here in the corner I was telling you about, where we caught that submarine on.
Yeah.
See the chart paper on there in the back, that gray paper? Yeah. Nowadays you get on a fishing ship, a fishing boat like this, and it tells you everything, finds fish and everything. And that's what we used
I
back
think we gotta
then.
go down.
Right.
This was a captain's quarter. Did that pull down to a bed? Yes. He slept on that then, otherwise it would.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the captain. I mean, this is as elaborate as it gets, guys. It ain't. I mean, it was really, in the time, it was really elaborate, but it's really not.
Four bars there. See the four gold bars right there.
Right.
There's all his medals right up on top there.
I like his dining room though. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Okay, now you got it. There's your radio train.
Yes, this is where I used to have to slide our position and our weather.
There you go.
Look at all the gear that they had to work with. That's why this is top secret was the radio room.
Right, that's what.
You had to have a top secret clearance to get in
That's
here.
why I came one time. I had the XO, the officer on watch. I couldn't get him there. He said he's down here, so he sent me down here. And that's when he showed me the thing with the kids there. Showed me this. Showed me that.
Yeah.
So you know what it was. It had a
Yeah.
A, B,
Morse code.
Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Charlie, Delta, X-Ray,
Right,
Fox, Golf, Hotel,
Yeah.
Indy. I knew them all by the heart.
I
didn't-
still
He
do.
still does.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
lost
Yeah.
mine.
And
Yeah.
taught it to the daughter.
I
Yeah.
taught it all the kids,
Yeah.
but there was no glass in here, of course. This
Right,
was a
no.
solid
Right, no.
door, and I had to knock, and then there was a little thing they lifted up here, and I could slide under,
Yeah.
or they would crack the door open. Our position and the weather of the ship at the time,
Yeah.
and they would put that into a weather central. They radio that in. Yep. Yeah, I had a good friend in here too. Him and I hung around together.
What was your friend's name?
You want to know? Seriously?
Not his nickname.
No, his real name was Jack Goff. Seriously, that was his real name, Jack Goff. And I told him, I said, your parents must have hated you.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't even need a nickname, or did he have a nickname?
No, that was his name, but we called him Jack Goff.
Like I said, I see that guy commit suicide. That I never forgot that.
In a fan room by chance?
No, we were refueling, and I see a guy jump off the fantail
Oh,
and got sucked under the screws of the ship
Oh,
there.
so quickly.
we had one that hung himself in the fan
Well, a
room.
lot of them got you get the Dear John letters and the stuff like that.
Yeah.
I got one myself.
I don't know what the Dear John letter is.
It says, you know, if you went, I'd say you were my girlfriend, I'd send you a letter, and I'm gone. Now, you might have gone and got another boyfriend while I was gone. So what that meant, you send me a letter, hey, I got a new boyfriend, I don't want none of your mail, you know, you don't want
Here's
my
that letter.
mail coming to you, you don't want no part of me. So you'd probably send a letter, hey Jack, I'm all done with you, I got a new guy, I like that. That's
Yeah.
how they got the Dear John letter, that's what they call Dear John letter. So I end up getting one of them, but I beat the letter home. So when I went to get her mother says, well, don't you know? I said, no what? She says, oh, she's got a new boyfriend. I said, oh my God, I didn't know that. I beat
Yeah,
the
that
letter home.
happened too. The letters
So it
didn't
happened to
catch
be
up.
a Coast Guard. I live in Norwich, Connecticut, New London. And it was a Coast Guard guy.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I find out whether I drive around till today, I never forgot it.
Is that right?
She can't you ever I've been with her, I've been married over 60 something years, I've been married with that girl. Says, can't you ever let that go?
This was attached down to the engine room, straight down. Straight down. This is where sometimes, if this was up, if you hit things just right, they could come up out of there.
You can go down that way there. There's another-
Oh.
Where they press uniforms and everything in here.
This is the laundry room?
Yep. Yeah, it wasn't much. For 263 people, they had to keep all the uniforms and dungarees and sheets and everything clean. And it was just done on these couple of machines. When
Yes.
the guy we met, this would have been his, where he worked.
What's a yeoman again?
Yeoman is a pencil pusher.
Yeah.
Takes care of all the documents and records for everything on all the shipmates. So if you finish a class or something or some type of training, you get it on your record. This is the ship supply. Yep, ship supply. They made sure that we had food and everything we needed.
It's like
Toilet
inventory?
paper. Yep. And ordered stuff. Again, a lot of Filipinos with that. It was unclassified. I don't remember what this is. Oh, this is sick bay, of course. This is where the pecker checkers work. Yeah. This is how bad things are, how good things, I guess you could say. Tim Jackson, when they died, he was really stoned one day up on the bridge. We were going through an inspection. And he picked up this phone and started turning it, and he acted like he talking to somebody. Man, it really freaked all of us out. It freaked the captain out. The captain said, I want this man drug tested. So he came down here and got the pecker checker. He said, I got a drug test. So the pecker checker guy peed in the cup for him.
Oh, really?
And he sent it off and he was clean. Otherwise, that guy would have been busted.
Nothing new there then, huh?
No, but look at the...
Now you have to buy.
If you had to have, surgery or...
Oh.
This is it, man. You had no other choice. Stitch it to get stitched up here. You hit your head on something in rough seas.
And imagine doing surgery during waves.
You held on. Strap you down. I don't see any straps, but you can see the slots in the table where they can strap you down.
Did you ever have to go to the sick bay for anything?
One time, I was sicker than a dog, not from seasick, from something I ate or something, and they gave me some stuff and sent me to my bunk, and I put a note on the bunk that I was there. Sick bay sent me there, so no one would accuse me of sleeping when I wasn't supposed to. And I was fine the next day. But outside of that, no.
But your dad was also on a ship just like this. I mean,
Worse.
Yeah.
Far worse.
Right.
This wasn't really nothing I had anything to do with. They would check the quality of the water because they make drinking water from seawater.
Right.
And they also would make water to run the boilers and stuff here, so this is like their office that they work in. Yeah, these were just little departments, little rooms where each department on the ship had a spot to go to keep the records clean. I think this is for the deck.
Okay.
They took care of the ropes and the painting and the ship's appearances, so this was their little office.
Okay.
Those are called monkey fists.
I've heard you speak of them.
Those little
yeah.
rolled up balls, those are monkey
Small
fists.
as it was?
And you tie it to one of these little orange pieces of rope here, and the end of that rope is tied to a big rope like this. You could never throw a big rope over. You threw that monkey fist over, and then they would pull that.
Yeah, you said that.
And then they could get the end of the rope.
I always envisioned they were larger to begin with.
No, but they're heavy.
Oh, are
I
they?
think there's lead inside of them. Keep going down, right into the bowels of the ship.
Yeah. No, we did that once on that.
I've seen guys come out of here with sweaty, hot, like 140 degrees the other day, and they had cigarette butts in their ears for the noise. They come crawling up out of here, and I'm up on deck, sunbathing. And they come out there and I look at him and say, "Damn." He can make a knot board. And even up this last year, I asked him again. I said, "Dad, could you make a knot board?" He said, without hesitation, he goes, "Yeah."
Grandpa Meacham could make
He could make that. All those different knots, probably more even. Yeah.
What was his position in the Navy?
He was a seaman first, which means he was kind of the one that made the ship attractive and handled all the ropes and everything. Carried cargo around, made sure things were in the right place. We walked through the bridge. I can tell you where I was standing when those guns went off. That's why I'm hard of hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you could stand there with me, and you can imagine when the guns barrels were just right there and when they were going off. And we're just sitting here.
Yeah, feeling the power, huh?
Yeah. Then my ears started ringing and it never stopped to this day. Never stopped.
You still have a little ringing in your ears all the time?
All the time. I always hear ringing. Hear ringing right now. Always hear ringing. I go to sleep hearing ringing, and I wake up hearing ringing. And I remember the day that it started. Yeah. They didn't give us any hearing protection. Was anything on the ship? No. People were doing this. That's all they were doing.
How often would they shoot them off?
Every month probably shoot something. Keep everybody fresh.
A half a dozen rounds at a time or something?
Whatever they wanted.
Whatever they
Probably it could be 50, 60, or it could be a dozen. And then the projectiles would shoot. Once they shoot it, there's a brass casing, beautiful brass casings that would just fall out from underneath here and roll all over the deck.
Yeah.
Those things were beautiful. Then we just throw them over the side.
Yeah.
Solid brass.
Wow.
Yeah, this 5-inch round, and I don't know, about that tall, weren't they? And they'd be all over, every time we shoot, it would just fall out of the bottom of that. And we would just take them and throw them over. Boy, today that'd be wonderful, like 5 or 6 of those. Shine them up.
Yeah, nice.
Wouldn't that be nice? I'll put them inside your door or something, or by
Yeah.
the fireplace. And inside of here, when they fired, there was probably 1, 2, 3, probably 4 people, when you say. Pretty cool in there.
Yeah.
You're seeing the mechanism, and everything comes up on an elevator from underneath.
Right.
And you grab it, you throw the powder keg in, and you grab the projectile, and you pull this lever down, and it rams up there, and then there's a commanding officer that sits back here.
Should be one in every.
It tells them what to do and everything.
Right.
And you got 2 of them going on at the same time. But this thing would shoot, I don't know, it probably took us 3 or 4 minutes to get everything ready to shoot between shots. But today, the automation, they don't do 5-inch 38s, but they'll do 10,000 a minute.
Yeah, and they're going right after.
Yeah, 10,000 a minute, where ours was 3 minutes for 1. But when she went off, boy, the whole ship would shake. Boom.
Everything was shaken down here. The sleeping quarters was right under here.
That's where I slept.
Yeah, I slept back here too. The boatswain's mates were there. Then you had the ship fitters, and you had the gunner's mates who were on the other side.
Yeah.
So you would have slept over here.
Yeah,
So you
down
don't
that,
really feel it.
right down that hatch. I can tell you right where I slept. I slept right about here, middle right.
Yeah.
Right there.
Then you had the guy in after steering right in here.
After steering, yeah. Always had water in there.
If you didn't take off, and you get another thing here for you.
Yeah, this is about where I slept.
Yeah.
But when I first reported on board, I slept up in the post. There was no bunks. I was hot bunking it. Every 4 hours I was sleeping someone else's rack, you know. I had to do that for about 2 weeks before they finally found a rack for me.
Yeah.
But normally it wasn't open.
Right.
But if it was a really nice day,
You could take the water in that way.
yeah, if it was a really nice day, they opened the hatch.
You got some fresh
And you
air.
got some fresh air running through there. And the bathroom used to be over there somewhere.
No,
We
the
took it-
bathroom, we didn't have no bathroom. The bathroom's upstairs.
Oh, it seems like we had one there, no?
No, there was not. The boatswain's mates were there.
Okay.
They
They take saltwater shower or something?
The whole back section there was boatswain's mates. Both sides.
All the bathrooms were up front?
The bathrooms are right over here.
Oh, the heads were?
Right there, right. The showers, the head was right over, the bathroom was right over here.
Yeah.
The shower was on that side over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where that was the head I would add the shower in.
Okay, and then the bathroom's on the
Yeah.
other side.
Yeah.
So then we used to have to take saltwater showers all the time. Remember that?
Yeah, they couldn't make enough water for us.
No.
Kept the boilers number 1,
Yeah.
drinking number 2.
Oh, boy, I don't.
What was the refueling where the hose would come in and connect?
Right over here.
That was up here, right?
Yep, I forgot where it was. It did come in this way. I forgot where it was.
Somewhere right here.
No, right there. That's how you tied it in, yeah.
There was a single bed. And there would always be somebody in there, but he could sleep. He's the only one that could sleep on duty. And I'd go up there, we'd hang out together, me and Flamo. El Flamo. He was from Maryland. I forgot what his real name was. But he'd hoist. It's full of all the alphabet flags. He'd hoist them up and they all meant something, you know?
This is where the life rafts were?
When you hit the water, they were supposed to open up. But we don't know.
They're supposed to
Never
hold
had
up.
to use
Oh, my goodness.
it. Right here.
This is where you're standing what?
When those guns went off.
Oh.
There, or I was standing here with this. and just watching those guns shoot like crazy. And they were loud. Yeah, there's a party spot up there. That was the party spot.
You stood there a lot.
What is that?
This is a gyroscope.
Oh, is it okay? Yep.
I had those earphones on, and the navigator would say, stand by to shoot. And we had targets I had to shoot. And when I get in line, stand by, we would say, mark. I had to tell them exactly how many degrees that mark was. And then they would keep put everything together there. And I'd find things for them. I'd find a mountain peak, for instance. And I'd say, there's a good mountain peak out here, so you can find that on the chart. And he'd find it on the chart, and he'd circle it. And he'd have me shoot that. It was way off in the distance, it worked really good. Lighthouses, good. Corners of the land, if it turned, you could shoot that.
Because they're already well targeted.
Yeah. And then you could tell where this line crossed and that line crossed and this one crossed. This is where we are in the channel. This is always used here when you're close to land.
Firefighter.
This thing, like, see all the red lights? This thing's all red in here. There was never any other lights. That board would be lit up with red, and they'd use white markers on there. I've never seen it here.
You never looked in there?
Oh, this is where the ECM is, wasn't it?
The WLR1.
Yeah, I was in here and I got in trouble.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I didn't have a top secret clearance. I only had
yes,
a secret clearance.
that was my area on the wood. And you did need a clearance. Yeah, we had a safe in there and everything got locked up.
We had one on board.
Well, I had
He was from Israel.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was
Smart,
shocked to
really
see it.
smart. You guys had to be smart.
When I came up here earlier,
There's lots of
door
learn.
was locked. I was up
Right,
here. I was
right.
thrilled that it's open.
Right, it was locked earlier.
This area, you could explain it. They could detect where there's enemy.
Well, we used to detect radars from ships. Like radars are like fingerprints. Every ship is different, and we were 6 months with the Russians and up in the Black Sea and everything, and we knew every ship just by their radar. And one of my guys was sitting there, and we were in the Black Sea. We were getting overflown by Russians every hour by something. One of the airplanes locked onto us with his fire control radar, and that thing like lit up, and he came out of his seat.
Yeah.
Because he thought because they locked on with the fire control, and you could hear it scanning, and then it goes, and it just locks onto you, and they were actually locked onto us. But they play games. The Russians play games.
Yeah, we did.
And the
submarines.
and the thing with the Russians they turned on their radar very sparsely, where we would go with ours 24 hours a day to radar, but they were very protective of their electronics. So if you caught something, you were lucky to catch it,
And then once you did catch it,
you recorded all the
so
parameters
that
of
if
it.
it come on again, you know.
Well, you do it. You put the parameters of it down, and then you identify the ship, and you can write down what ship it was. Like they were famous for changing numbers. You'd see the same ship, but it'd have a different number painted on the side, so you would think it was a different ship. But if the parameters of the radar were identical, you'd know that it was the same ship. It's just they changed the number. They played games like that because that's they would lead you to believe they had more ships, because if you see it with a number 1, 2, 3, and then you see it with a 2, 4, 4, 5, 6, you think there's two different ships. They were tricky.
That was
we used to chase them around.
Well, that was EW, wasn't it?
Our submarines would change.
Wasn't that EW that worked
go
in
in,
there?
paint over the number.
That's right. That's quick.
So we played the same game.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Electronic. Wasn't it the EWs that worked in there?
Electronic warfare. Yeah.
Yeah, that was their
you
rate.
would just, but basically, you would just collect the data. You couldn't actually do any electronic countermeasures, but you could collect electronic countermeasures data.
Yeah.
Information. And Wood actually got the E for electronics when we were up in the Black Sea, because we collected so many Russian signals over the period of time we were up there. You know? Like Odessa, Russia, we were 50 miles from Odessa, Russia, anchored, and we were being followed by trawlers, and you know,
Fishing
they
trawlers
never
that were
left us.
disguised.
It,
They're
the Black
military.
Sea at that time was closed, and the Russians, you would have to get Turkey's permission to go up there.
Yeah.
And we had the Wood actually had an anchor at the entrance. We had to lower our boat. The captain had to go ashore to like an unknown, terminally the unknown soldier, put a wreath, have a ceremony, and then they would let us go in. You know, it was all very complicated.
Yeah. We went barging right in.
Yeah, this was my home.
This was
when we were refueling. It might have been where he's fed, but they took off a whole bunch of stuff.
And again, about how far from the ship were you that was giving you fuel?
Here, that building. We're close. Their splash would hit our ship.
So is this similar to your bunk room? Like,
Similar. Yeah.
what was different? Was yours smaller?
We had lockers down here, and we were 3 high. This is 4 high. I don't know where the lockers are here.
You want to crawl in one?
Okay. This is better. I'm fat now. This is how I slept because
Oh, my word, your feet
this was
down.
this would be down to here.
Yeah, somebody in.
So you just slept here, and there's a strap us in, so we didn't roll out, hit our head on us on the bottom. If you didn't like the guy up here, you
Seriously?
Yeah. You were fine.
piss him off, and he'd be swinging at you down from here or down here. You didn't know which end he was going to swing at you. His fist.
Speaking of noise, Mom was saying that she read a sign that said the bunk areas were never quiet. Is that accurate?
Very accurate.
No one kept their voices down. It was just.
Engine noises, humming sounds, vibration of the ship, the screws are turning. You know, sometimes you hit a wave that just the whole ship is shattered. And the ship is always doing this. And what you have to be concerned about with an older ship is what they call fatigue strain. So when these things come out of the shipyard, they can take on like incredible waves. But over a period of time of doing this for years and years, it's like taking a paper clip, steel one. You know how you keep bending it and it won't do anything, but you keep breaking, all of a sudden it'll snap. That's what you have to be careful with these things. When you're really old, you get into some really bad weather, they could snap, break. And that's when you're trained to sit on the floor, open your legs, put your head between your legs, and then kiss your ass goodbye.
So what was the brick, Dad? That was the disciplinary area, correct?
The brig?
The brig?
There was no brig on the Wood.
Oh, so what would happen to the guys that got in trouble?
Handcuff them,
And then what?
feed them, bread and water.
And they'd sit in jail
Until we get to port, then we turn them over to authorities. Now on the bigger ships they had a regular jail. But we'd handcuff them to something.
Something?
Yeah, some
Yeah.
fixture. And they'd be under watch too.
what was like the medium discipline? So let's say you stole some cake and you got in trouble for stealing food. What's your medium discipline?
They would usually take your liberty away for a couple of days, which is pretty big. It's tighter than hell down there, man. Oh.
You're a little bigger than you were, eh?
Except the mattresses are better than what we had. These are like that thick. I looked for your bunk. I think it's down there. I saw mine down in the corner. Yeah. Night for entertainment, and they would put this hatch down. And anybody that had to get in on, they had to go through that real little round one. That was all we had to get out of there.
Oh, sad ride. What movies did you watch?
Oh, I don't remember. They were the movies that were going on at the time. They would send us a reel of it, or they would send it over by aircraft sometimes, by helicopter or another ship, along with some supplies.
Oh, okay.
So we would get them like 5 or 6 months after they were come out, but they were still new to us.
Right.
So we haven't seen them. But the aircraft carriers and big ships, they would get them first. Then they pass them us to us little guys.
Did you fit through that hole?
Oh yeah. Could I now?
No, did you do that?
Oh yeah, I shoot through that thing.
You could smoke. So you could smoke anywhere in the ship except for where?
Outside at nighttime, because you can see a cigarette lit, I think like 7 miles away. So you can never, they say, pass the word like at sunset, the smoking lamp is out for all outdoor smoking. So smoke in here all you want, smoke in the apartment all you want, but not outside at night.
I saw an ashtray right by your desk in the quartermaster area.
Smoking was a big thing. That was the entertainment. I tried it. Couldn't act it. I tried. I don't think I ever got through one pack. All I did was cough. One and only time. Then I didn't know I was supposed to go on a tray. You know, they got these little lips to hold alcohol on the tray, but that doesn't mean slide down. Neighbor to bother him. And then you couldn't get drinks. There was no drinks because you can't put your drink in your tray. So you had to take that out of there.
Do you just have water bottles that you refilled? How'd you drink water?
Cup, plastic cup that went running back through the galley again for rewashing. Also plastic. Steel trays. Stainless steel trays. And you kind of put the tray inside and then pop something on there. Kind of look at it, wonder what it is, go to the next one, pop something on there. There was a sign saying, take all you want, but eat all you taste. So you could have a pretty good heavy portion of it. Hamburgers and pizzas were the most popular food.
Is there any food you hated that you had to eat? Like,
I just avoid onions. Always had something. Oh yeah.
did you have fresh fruits and vegetables?
Rarely.
Mostly all canned?
Sometimes we got really lucky. I remember twice. The ship, the neighboring ship would drop off lobster and steak for us. And we'd put a charcoal fire out the back of the cooks would put a charcoal fire out back. And they cook the steaks back there and steam the lobster. And we would call it surf and turf back there. That was a real rare treat.
Was that the milk machine you had to salute your first day?
No, that was a food can.
Was it similar style?
I could freely use this for all they kill.
You would run out of food pretty often?
Items.
Oh, like what?
Never run out of food, but we'd run out of like milk. We ran out of toilet paper.
What'd you do then?
They rationed it out. 4 sheets as you walked into the bathroom. You wash your hand in. That was it. Ran out of. But you always had a lot of other stuff. You had a lot of stores, a lot of warehousing of like big gallon cans of beans. Stuff into the grocery store was very big. Always had that. Always had rice, big, lots and lots of rice.
Where did you go in Africa?
Tunisia.
What were your interesting experiences there?
How detailed you want me to get?
PG. PG.
Our government gave Tunisia a ship very similar to this one, but they didn't know how to operate it. They could fire it up and they could run up and down the shore with it, and that was all they could do. But bear in mind that they'd never been out at sea, really. They never got outside the shore. So several of us flew over there to teach us how to, all the ins and outs of the ship, including the navigating part of it. So since the quartermaster's over there. So we launched the ship out and we went out into rough seas where they'd never been in the rough seas. And the quartermaster was missing. Everybody's missing. The only thing that was really running the ship was those U.S. sailors that were put under to train these people. We found them all down in the bunk. They were all down there sicker than a dog. Literally, vomit was rolling from side of the compartment down the other side of the compartment down there. And we poked at them, made them come back up where they had to be, you know. Language barrier there, of course. And then it was time for us to eat. And they treated us as guests, and we ate in the officer's wardroom, which was really nice. So we ate there, and we went back up to our positions to continue to train, and we were getting close to docking. And my quartermaster came up missing again. It's one of the most important things he can do is be there to tell us when we get close to the dock, start backing things down. He's missing. I'm looking down and he's pulling ropes. That's what they did. He didn't know any different. He's on there pulling ropes to get ready to tie up the ship to the dock. So that was a good experience. You know,
What's the rated R version?
that was kind of, it was
It's just gross with the vomit.
Yeah. It was,
Isn't that where you went further and further out, or further out and with the bike or something with your buddy? And
oh yeah. Yeah, when we got there, we had a couple of days before we got reported on board the ship, and we rented mopeds. And we wanted to just go south, see how far we could, because Tunisia's north Africa. We just wanted to head south. And we had a few drinks that day. And one of the guys wiped out pretty bad, but he's still able to limp his moped along. And we were hoping to see some huts with topless women. And we did. We did find some. So we hung around there for a while and rode the mopeds back. And he got in a lot of trouble with wiped out. He had to end up paying a lot. The ship had to pay it for him. And he had to pay the ship back. Yeah. Yeah, we just went south. Didn't have any idea where we were going. We went south. The roll, wide open. No fear. No fear. I mean, we didn't even think about it.
remember you got to go in to Yugoslavia, what was then Yugoslavia?
Yeah. Yeah, Dubrovnik, Yugoslavia. City built within walls. It's an island with walls all the way around it. And a drawbridge to get on and off the island. We were the first United States Navy vessel to ever visit that city because it was communist controlled. But they allowed us because it was so small. And we had to be in our dressed whites, and we had to be in our top behavior. act, show we're representing the United States. These people never seen anybody from the United States before. They were locked into this area, so that was a good time. And I behaved myself.
What's the story of you not behaving yourself?
I told you, renting mopeds.
That's it? You were just good the rest of the 4 years?
No, I don't know.
There's one you're thinking of. You're not gonna tell. I can see it.
Which ones do I want to share here? Yeah, there's someone you're gonna die with.
All right. Well, tell us just another adventure you had on Liberty.
We had Liberty Port in a city in Italy, and part of the city was communist, and the other part was not. And we were told that to stay away from that side of the bridge. In fact, as we were going through the bridge, they were throwing rotten tomatoes and eggs at us from that side. And so we finally got in, got tied up, and 4 of us got in a taxi, and the first thing we did was go on the other side of the bridge. That's the first thing we did. And we were sitting down with this group of kids, a group of men the same age we were, and we're drinking pretty heavy. I never drank real heavy, but I drank with them. But 2 of them got in a taxi and left. They left John and I back, and I wanted to get John to safe because he was drunk. He couldn't even stand up the wall. So I'm holding him by the arm, trying to guide him. And these guys are starting to want to fight now. They're pick up the jackets, they're pushing and shoving, and I'm trying to hold John, trying to keep him connected to me. And it was just about at the hot point, and some Russian sailors that was visiting that city, which is communist, Russians were all over the place, came over and chased those guys off, grabbed John and I, got us into a hotel safely, and then called a taxi and had us taken back to the ship. Yeah, we're almost goners on that one. They were gonna kill us.
Did you show us the computer room?
I don't know what this is.
It says computer and fire control room.
Communication and plotting room.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was this an old computer?
Oh, this is a master. This is where the IC-man is. Okay. Master gyro compass. I see that right there. This is, I don't know everything about this, but this is where the gyros are maintained, which is very important part of the navigation. I don't know what this other stuff is. This is the door.
This is the door what?
I got seasick.
This is the door you got seasick?
This is the door I opened up.
So tell us that story?
Yeah, I was out in the mess hall, my very first meal down there, Rough Seas. And they were teasing me. Got me up green and everything. And I was thinking like I was really tough, but I was really getting sick. It was like, hurry up, start my food down, threw away. And I had really feel bad. So I ran up the deck and I saw this door in there. And at that time, the ship's decks were secured from ever traveling on because the seas were so rough, water was coming up over the ship. I didn't know what that meant. They never told me that main decks were secured. So I opened this thing up, swung this thing open, went to step out, and water knee-high came through this thing, and slammed the door open, down the holes, apartment, people down there hollering, who's up there, why didn't you let the water? And I ran, I left the door open. I ran to my bunk, dried off and crawled in bed, tried to hide. To this day, they never knew who did that.
That was your first day on the ship?
My very first day on the ship, yeah, about same thing. Yeah. I opened this thing up and opened it. And when I first opened it, the ship was up out of the water. But then once I went to step out, which I was 5 seconds from being swept off the ship, as I stepped out is when the ship went down. So that's when the water come gushing by. And I just got 1 foot was in and 1 foot was out. So it was enough for me to run, but when the water came in.
Didn't you say that you puked in the water first?
Oh, yeah,
so the puke water
at the same time.
The puke water came back in the ship and went everywhere.
When I just puked, all I wanted to do was run and hide. And I did. Nobody ever knew who it was. No one saw me. I had to go down and go back to the mess hall and to my apartment. staff guy, but I don't know if you can see me or not.
Did that ever happen where someone didn't make it to roll call in the morning?
Oh yeah.
And you didn't know why?
Yeah.
That happened on your ship?
Yeah, we've had people fall over and not know it. We'd go back and look for them because we couldn't find them. We just considered missing. What you can do? It's a vast ocean out there, you don't know. Always had to watch all the sleepwalkers too.
Oh, seriously?
That's just for, yeah, all we had was just the 3 cables.
Wow.
And none of this. None of it.
So this is actually safe. Yeah. Okay.
So those torpedoes, Dad, is that what was shot through that thing to get submarines?
Both of them are submarines, but mostly that was for torpedoes to shoot on the side of another ship that are out there.
And what guns shot the side? The big ones?
The torpedo tubes, both rotated.
What are your thoughts right now?
Just think about the hurricane.
The recent Ian?
No, sailing through it.
And what about the hurricane? The company emotions or what?
No, I'm just trying to picture the hurricane waves are about 40 feet high. And that is about 20 feet high, above the ship. So I figure another 20 feet above that is the wave that we were going through. They don't have any aerial photography of anything like that because they can't. Aircrafts can't endure hurricane winds, so you have to put that in mind. Yeah, pictures.
Who is Tim Jackson?
Huh?
Who was Tim Jackson?
He was a quartermaster that was there when I reported on board, and he was one of the older guys because he was like 30. He enlisted really late.
And you just became friends with him, or?
Yeah, real good friends actually, but he died 5 or 6 years ago.
Which one is he?
Well, I don't know if you can see him well because it's kind of shaded.
Yeah, those pictures in there are pretty fuzzy and
Yeah.
it's hard to make out.
What was swim call?
They would just bring the ship to a stop, and people can go swimming, but they'd set up a couple gunners mate with guns to shoot any sharks that are in the area, and it's just in time to let loose a little bit. Usually if you haven't had any port calls in a long time, they did that.
You could just jump off the side and then how do you get back up again?
I don't know. Must have had a ladder hanging
I'm sure
over.
there was a ladder.
Yeah.
Now on the
I never had nerve to do that.
on the other ship I was on, it was an LPD, so
Yeah.
the bottom ballast down. We could jump off the side and swim in the back, and then climb up the ladder and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
But the wood, well, we didn't have a swim call on the
Oh,
wood.
the best not board.
And I didn't know at the time, you know, to me it was just another ship in a way. When he found out it was a DD, he was just so excited because he's always wanted to be a tin can in World War II, and he never was able to. And here I just randomly got it. Yeah. One other ship, and I was on that one for almost 3 years. And it's nothing the same. It is absolutely nothing the same.
That was called an amphibious ship.
Amphibious, yeah. LPD,
Ponce.
yeah. USS Ponce. We had some beauties. It was on the Ponce. Now that one was 60 feet up, I think, from the water line. But we're steaming underwater in the middle of nowhere. It was a really nice day though, and he'd come up to the bridge, and he was a snipe, but he came up to the bridge, stripped down naked, right there at the catwalk, and jumped over.
Really?
Right from the bridge. Yeah. So we did a man overboard and put down the lifeboat, or the, I think it's the captain's gig or something, lowered that down to go get him, and he kept pushing the boat away. And so they took a gaff. He went, gaffed him, pulled him in, threw him on the little boat and sat on him. Yeah, and they chained him up.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Until we got to shore somewhere, and then the authorities picked him up.
What was your nickname in the Navy?
El Micho.
Truth?
True.
Why?
I don't know why we come up with these names. They just did.
What was some of your other buddies' nicknames?
Larry Fortin, his name was Seawolf.
Why?
Don't know why. Oh, I do know why. He got drunk one night, and he woke up in the morning with a Seawolf tattoo.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a Seawolf tattoo. So we started calling him that. And then there was Ziggy. He was from Pennsylvania. There's Bone Brain. He's from Illinois. Oh, and there's Faggot. He was from Queens, New York. Hey, Faggot. At least within our own department, we all had our own nicknames. So I don't even know how I got El Micho. And I don't know how O'Brien got Megovich either. Just from being from New York, Queens, New York, I think.
They said this is actually true, that right now in the current, today's Navy, that they give these new recruits stress cards, and if you're a commanding officer, if you feel like emotionally stressed, you could produce your card and they have to back off.
I didn't have that.
You guys did not have that?
No.
What do you think your commanding officer would have said if you showed him a stress card back when you were on there?
Probably would have made me eat it. With a smile.
So you're telling me they weren't concerned about your feelings?
Not mine. No.
So, Dad, tell us about the time you served during the War of 1812.
There's a lot of lifting back then. He's built for a heavy. There's not a lot of food. You had to share the springs of rice between several people.
Sounds bad. What did you say you got paid a month in the Navy, Dad?
$337 a month.
Wow.
You also managed to save up money to buy a trailer up here.
Yeah.
So did you save most of that money to buy a trailer?
I had two periods where I saved. When I first went in, I saved because I was scared to do anything, basically. So I just stayed on the ship and didn't have any bills. And then when I got transferred to the other ship, all of us quartermasters and some other people on the ship decided to get an apartment at Virginia Beach. And I never had a penny after that. Because that absorbed money and gas for the car, just absorbed everything. And then when I went out to sea, I still paid rent, you know, to keep the apartment. And then towards the end of getting out, I started saving some. I had to have some money.
What was your captain's name when you got out?
It was McLean.
McLean. And was he the captain for 3 years on the amphibious ship?
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't McLean. Who was it? I don't remember who the captain was on the Conseil. Yeah, he was a goofy one.
Yeah.
I remember Chris, who he was.
He didn't leave an impression
Yeah.
like the goofy one.
the tin can was just different. You know, the Ponce, there'd be helicopters and Harriers coming off of aircraft carriers and stuff and landing on the ship just to have lunch or dinner with the captain, you know. One of those big ship and carried 2,000 Marines and all kinds of equipment.
After half a mile.
You were just transporting Marines?
Transporting them. We moved them, yeah. We took them from the United States to somewhere.
So Ponce was the name of the amphibious ship you were on for 3 years?
Ponce, yeah.
What was fun about the Ponce?
Keep right.
Just the relationships. We had no gunpowder, firepower to speak of. Our duty was to make one-way trip, get those Marines unloaded and all the equipment, and hope your ass gets back okay. But on the way there, we got all kinds of escorts to make sure the Marines get there.
What were some of the cool places the Ponce went?
All over the Mediterranean. I can't think of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Look at the cruise books.
I just
Some of
wondered,
the same places. As
beyond the Mediterranean, you said you went to Africa, but were those really the two?
Caribbean, Cuba, Puerto Rico. I think that's it outside of the... We all got excited one time. We were supposed to go across the equator. And the charts all laid out and the whole deal. And changed on our way down there. Halfway down there, we changed. We had to turn off the back.
Why?
Oh, why?
Did you get to have liberty in all those places like Cuba and Puerto Rico and...
Not Cuba, because the only reason we were in Cuba is because the United States signed some sort of land contract with Cuba shortly after World War II. So we were entitled to a small piece of land in Cuba called Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay. And when the new Cuban leader who rebelled against the United States helped get him as the president there, and then he rebelled against the United States, they had to hold their contract. So that little piece of Cuba was rented, leased by the United States military. So we got to stay there. But you could never go off base because it's dangerous. Never. They had fences, even minefields instead, to keep people in and keep people out.
Did you get to do much exploring of Africa?
No, just a motorcycle ride. In my first, seems like our first meal there where they cooked the whole fish. I remember that. They cooked the whole fish and put it on your plate, head and everything. That was a little different. I remember that being weird. And they warned us before we went on shore to never shake hands with your left hand, never make any hand gestures, don't point or nothing with your left hand. Basically, keep your left hand still and don't use it, because using your left hand is an insult, because they don't have toilet paper there and they use their left hand to wipe themselves. So if they serve us with their left hand, then we should probably leave the restaurant. They told us, because they don't like it. But we didn't have any of that. lot of places that believe in that same thing, do that tradition. Wipe with your left hand and rinse it off real good, just go about your business. No flush toilets, they had a hole in the floor.
Did you think joining the Navy was going to be fun?
No, not all fun. I knew it was going to be hard work, but you got to remember, I was going in under the pretense I was going to be a construction battalion guy and run heavy equipment. So I was looking forward to that. But when I didn't get that school and they assigned me to a different school, I had no idea what I was getting into at that point. So I was looking forward to learning how to operate equipment. So for that reason, I was excited in a way. Willing to put up with all the crap to get there.
Were you crushed when you didn't get it? Like, or have you always been this kind of stoic guy that's just like, well, I guess I'm a quartermaster now and move on? Or were you more emotional about that stuff back then?
I was angry. When I found out they were going to send me to a school I had no idea, I went to the person assigned me my next set of orders, which he couldn't do anything because it was just his job to give me the orders. I said, it's supposed to be construction battalion. So when they looked up my record, they said, no, you signed up on a wish list for construction battalion. That's what your recruiter put you down. And you didn't put down any second choice. So that means we assigned you to anything we wanted to. So they assigned me to a quartermaster because they were in need. So I went to school and learned about the heavens.
How long did it take you to get over your anger about not getting the construction assignment?
Oh. Immediately. Once I realized I'm stuck, that's the way it is.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
You just did a lot more things you were supposed to do.
But then you were upset about it, right?
I mean, yes and no. You don't think you have a choice.
You just go through the motions.
Yeah. There's certain things that maybe you stay upset over, or certain things you might stand up for a minute to go back to the construction battalion.
Well,
It's different.
they beat you down in boot camp, though. First of all, when you go into boot camp, they strip you literally of your dignity, your clothes, your wallet, your money, your hair. They strip you down to nothing, and they do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's your very first day. They strip you to nothing, and then you get to go to bed at 5, or they get you up at 6. You get 1 hour sleep, and you're sleep deprived, and then they run you through this little trailer where they buzz all your hair off, and they're hollering at you, and they're throwing shit at you.
Your first day?
Oh yeah, the very first day. They wake you up banging on trash cans. They call you names. Their favorite name, maggots. You guys are nothing but maggots. So they beat you down and they scare the living hell out of you. And they get in your face, and you have to listen to every word that's being said, because they'll ask you, what did I just say, recruit? What did I just say? And you better know what he said, so you're listening. Because if you don't, if you get it wrong, you get disciplined along with the entire company. And that really gets you in trouble, because there's 50 other people that has to do all this extra duty now because of you.
What was your discipline? Push-ups or something?
Push-ups, going out on a grinder and doing gun exercises at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning. We had to do extra cleaning, scrub the floors extra good, even though they were already clean. We had to scrub them again. Go through more inspections. They may take our locker and tip it over upside down and put everything back in perfect again. Every sock, everything back in the exact same order again. And it's other people's lockers again. My locker got tipped over because somebody else didn't have their underwear in the locker just right. So
it ever your fault that your company had a discipline?
No. Not the entire company. I had socks shoved in my mouth before, one time, because I was breathing out of my mouth instead of out of my nose.
Your commanding officer stuffed your mouth with socks because you're breathing out of your mouth, not your nose?
Right.
Jesus.
He could see my lips were open a little bit. And that was against the rules. So anyway, you go through this, and they beat you down to nothing. And then the last week, Chris, the very last week.
Okay, Dad, so what changed in boot camp towards the end?
Last week?
So the last week, things would change. And you got to remember now, they filtered out about 15 or 20% of the people that didn't make it for whatever reason. They may have moved them into another company, or they ASMO them, they call it. They put them back and make them do an extra 2 weeks or start over, something like that. So we made it. And so the company commander would change his attitude towards, we're no longer maggots and worthless and have no value. Now we made it, and we're on our way to be sailors now. And he respected us. And my commander even cried. He goes, man, you guys made it. I'm so proud of you guys. And we all cried because we didn't expect that. And then they issued our whites, our dress whites. And that's when you really look good. You got shoes that shine, you got a hat on, you actually became a sailor. And you go through a graduation ceremony. And that's where you can invite family down. And so we march in front of thousands of people that come down to watch their son graduate boot camp and get ready to go on board of the ship. So everything changed. And now you're proud of yourself. You're high value now, where before a worm could have crawl across the sidewalk and you'd stop and salute him, man, because it was higher than you. I mean, they really beat you down.
They really made you salute a worm?
No, you felt like it. They made me salute. I was getting milk out of a milk machine, and the commanding officer came up to me and said, hey, you raisin, I saw you get milk. He goes, I want you to salute that machine before you get it. And you asked for that machine to give you milk. You don't deserve it. So I stood there and I saluted and asked permission to get milk from that milk machine, and didn't answer me. And the recruiter said, ask again.
Oh my God.
So I asked again, and the recruiter said, go ahead and get your damn milk. And I got my milk and went and sat back down. But then, like I say, at the end, when you're dressed twice, we're looking at each other, and we're high-fiving, we're hugging each other, and saying, man, we did it. And then we looked at our orders to see where we're going to go, what ship we're going to go on, what city we're going to go to. We had no idea where we were going, and we're kind of hoping we could maybe stay together, but none of us were ever together. We all went different ways. And so they beat you down, and there ain't a thing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing. And you can't do anything, because if you try anything, they'll beat you to a pulp. They had blanket parties. If you're really screwed up, when you're looking, they threw a sheet over you or a blanket, and they kicked and they hit and they pounded you, and then they'd all run, and you're laying under this blanket, man, all bruised up and hurting because you messed up. So you don't want to mess up. So they really do bring you down, but then that last week they make you feel like $1 million, man. So they train you. They train you.
Prepare to exit the highway in 2 miles.
They train you to submit to the system. Totally submit to the system. When an officer walks into the room, attention on deck, you stand up, you salute. That's through your whole career, your whole time in there. Officers always walks on water. The commanding officers even You're the morsel, you're everything. You're your judge, you're your daddy, you're your mother, you're everything. He controls everything. When you're out at sea, it's the commanding officer. You don't have access to nothing except him. So you know, at sea, he is everything. You get in trouble, you go before the captain. You know. So they just train you, and you just accept it. Your whole mind is, you're at peace with it. I mean, you just go along with it because they train you so hard in boot camp to prepare for that. You don't ever ask questions. You just do what you're told to do.
Do you agree with that, looking back now?
Well, that's a hard question because I needed the discipline because, you know, my upbringing there was no discipline in my family. And so I could have easily went running wild. And so for me it was good. It was good for me. But it wasn't good for everybody. So, and that's the thing, they do the same thing with everybody. They never treat anybody special. They got the same treatment. So some people who couldn't handle that went literally nuts. You know, they went crazy. They just couldn't do it. So.
The highway.
You know, this one? Okay, yep. Sorry. Doesn't have that same.
So, do I agree with it? Yeah, in circumstances I do, because you gotta have such discipline during military and time of war. You can't have 500 people in charge. You know, you gotta listen to the one that's in charge of you, and you gotta do everything. You hope that person makes good judgments, you know, makes good decisions, because it's going to affect you. So, I guess I say, and again, you know, it's against our nature. War, killing people is against our nature. Our true self, there isn't really killing in us. We develop that. So, we're going against our true nature, going against the grain, and training ourselves to kill. So, some people can be trained and some people can't. I don't know if that made any sense or not.
Yeah. What I was going to say, and he did touch on it, but you know, there's a saying, you know, you go into the military a boy and you come out a man. And probably all generations want to toughen their boys into men. And that's just been part of it. I mean, that's what makes you a man. Once you've gone through boot camp.
It's 25 miles per hour.
So, those
definition man being what society calls a man, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever their culture deems as a man. So, I think that's part of why the men who went through it before don't tell you, well, don't do it because it's terrible. Because they had that pride of making it through, and they're a man, and they want you to be a man. You just got to put up with some things first to get there, you know. So it's just
Yeah, but it does mess you up.
oh yeah.
You're never the same.
Well, listening
You're
to
never the same.
Listen to Harvey last month. Some of his stories were
Horrid, weren't they?
so much worse than what you heard tonight, Christy. So much worse.
In
You know?
1,000 feet, turn right.
And
onto
your dad's,
Rhode
did you-
Island 138,
What did you-
Spring Street.
What did your dad have to say about boot camp?
They have never talked about
was just,
Could never get anything.
it just was a
Now turn right.
You know,
rite of passage.
I've learned a lot of stuff about Dad a month ago when I visited him.
Drive 1.5
You get Dad
miles.
drunk, you drink with him, and Harv would drink with him, and Harv would get some information out of him when he was drunk.
Oh.
That's how he knew.
Oh.
And then when he found out the information, some of the things that Dad did, he would look up those ships and where they were, and then that's when he realized, you know, what they went into.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looked at Dad's medals, that he got his war medals, and he found out he had a silver medal and all these other things for bravery. You know, and Dad never talked about that. But it messed Dad up big time.
Yep.
The speed limit is 25 miles per
And
hour.
it messed my uncle up too.
Probably messed up Harvey.
Well, Harv did too, because Harv never left the Corps.
Yeah.
Even though he spent 13 years in the Corps, and then he got out. And then he's still there. He's still there. He still talks like it, walks like it, you know, acts like it. Everything he's still there. He never left, even though he was discharged.
Was Harv in Vietnam?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, his stories were hard to listen to. I mean, somebody getting grease got all the rear end, you know.
Funny.
But Harvey's were physical beatings and things.
Harv was the runt of the entire battalion. He's the littlest guy in the Marine Corps. And when they come across another battalion, his drill sergeant would pull Harv out, the runt, and take on the biggest guy in this other battalion.
Because Harv was fast.
And Harv said he would jump on him like a cat, and he would try to claw his eyes out.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
And he had to survive. That's the only way he could do it is jump on the guy. He wrapped his legs and his arms around him. He pulled his hair, and the guy couldn't do anything. He said, try to pull him off, and he couldn't. And then the drill sergeant would separate the two and say, okay, get your ass back in there again. And he always pull Harv out and say, okay, attack this guy.
The littlest against the biggest. So what are you going to do?
Now turn select right.
Yeah, Harv would do push-ups with their knuckles and on their elbows,
Yeah,
and their blood would be running down the sidewalks, you know.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, interesting.
And he had sharing stories with me, and you know, Vietnam.
Yeah, I actually literally had to walk away because it was bothering my soul.
I don't want to know. Please don't tell me.
You will arrive at your destination on the left in 1,000 feet.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I'm okay with it. I didn't see war. So to me, it was a life lesson. And I wasn't damaged by it. I will never be the same, but I was never damaged. On the other hand, those who've gone through war.
You have reached your destination on the left.
I wonder if it was that welcome sign back there.
Yeah, it must have been. So those who've gone through war, you know, they're really messed up.
Well, even we can't mess up a lot.
Well, not so much boot camp. I mean, that's a discipline that you learn, but when you start shooting at people and you're getting shot at, and you see people die alongside of you, that just really screws you up.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. You know, since those tactics aren't allowed, and you have stress guard now. I wonder how that's changed Like we were
results.
talking about, you had to have, they did that because you had to have order, and you had to have somebody in command, and this and the that's. I think the soldiers of today are reliable. The ones that make it and go, I think they're reliable without that harshness. And I don't know that, but I just think that. You know what I'm trying to say? The soldiers of today are just as reliable
Oh, without the severe beatings.
without the
and-
severe, harsh treatment.
Yeah.
So they found a better method. Left?
Well.
Don't we go left?
Yeah, we're there, but you're supposed to go around this way
Oh,
because
okay.
it wasn't way.
All right.
Yeah, that very well may be the case. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know for sure either, but the little bit that I hear, you're still got your, you still got your buddies back.
During the Iran War, I was taken by surprise when a ship, a boat within a ship, they were on duty and they lost track where they were, and they went into the inner waters of Iran, and Iran intercepted them. And so when Iran intercepted the boat, they surrendered quickly, hoping that they would be released, but they weren't. And they got pictures of them crying, and I'm thinking, what? He's crying for?
Because that's a normal human emotion when you're facing death.
Yeah, and probably torture.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Do you know where you're going? Because I don't.
Yes.
Okay.
We're up there at the end of this.
I don't remember passing out.
Yes, I said there was 2 bathrooms, one really close to us and one up the hill.
Yeah. So you can see, Chris, how the generations of men being brought up that way, and you still have a lot of the old fogies that are business owners and in control, and they have that kind of a mindset. My hope and what I've been seeing and hearing and feeling is that that is changing.
Are you in that yearbook, Dad?
No. I think so.
You're yawning. Oh my word. That was the actual ship, Dad?
Yeah, we went to places.
Every city name on there you guys stopped at? What was like your favorite one?
I learned how to gamble in St. Raphael at a casino.
What did you win?
No.
What game did you play?
21 blackjack.
Is that in France? You can't really see the
It's France.
lines.
St.
Okay.
Raphael, France. And Rhoda, Spain, where I learned what a transvestite was. I never knew
The
that
hard way,
existed.
or
No. A bunch of our buddies got somebody else. We paid him to go with her, and he was really pissed when he came out of the room. And I didn't know. I found out why later. Athens is where I ate dog for the first time on a Kafara.
You didn't know it was dog, or?
No, they were souvlakis, meat on a stick, in a wine cooler.
Oh my word.
Crete had been closed down about 8 o'clock at night. Dubrovnik was the first, we were the first U.S. ship to visit them. It was then under communist control. And we went there for a visit. We had to be in our white uniforms and be on top behavior. And we were.
Did they not put ice on there? They did put ice on the top.
What was the reasons you stopped in these cities?
Liberty.
What is? Can you elaborate?
Well, we'd be a Mediterranean Sea for 6 months, and we needed a break from being out in the ocean.
Oh, okay. So liberty means your break?
Yeah, means the sailors need a break from being out at sea, so we would visit these places.
Have you ever totaled up how many countries you've been to in your life?
No.
If you had to guess?
15? Yes. Some's not even on here.
I shouldn't lick my finger. Oh, there's pictures of every place.
Dubrovnik had a wall all the way around the city. There it is right there. It was a city within walls. And you had to draw a bridge to get over to the city. Really nice place for, being communism. We were all surprised we were able to go there either. I drove by all of these in a bus and just realized, to me, there was just a bunch of piles of rocks. Drove right by them.
Never heard of Neptune's temple.
There we drank wine and ate bread on the famous river, French Riviera. And a lot of the women were topless. I think they were right there topless, I think.
Or a white bikini, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, no, they went by our boat. Topless. There was a change in command. This guy was really good. This guy went bonkers on us.
So that was him stepping down?
He stepped down, went to another ship, and he came in. And he went nuts on us. And the executive officer had to take over. That helicopter that came in picked up some people, which this book is dedicated to. And I knew all three of these guys. But this was a real good friend here. He was only 18 years old. He's on his way to school. This guy was on his way home to his wife was having a baby, and this guy was retiring, and he got killed on that helicopter right there. They lifted him off our ship, okay, and when they went to land on another ship, it exploded. I guarantee you I was at the helm refueling.
Oh, is that line? Is that the fuel line?
Yeah, that's a fuel line connecting us. We had to refuel every other day. Always had to have a full tank of fuel.
It's not really a job you could do hungover. Were you ever hungover?
No, couldn't drink on the ship.
Oh, well, you could on Liberty.
Oh, yeah. One time I got sick.
But there was no alcohol on the ship?
Not on this one. Too small. No room for it. Here's a typical splash you would get from the front of the ship. She'd take a dive under. And we arrived back home. I guess that's what that is. Yeah.
Awesome. So you were only on that ship from 75 to 76?
You didn't want the bottom bunk because it was over top of everybody's lockers. You had to get up every time they wanted it in.
Yeah, well, if you had a midnight watch and somebody else went in their locker, you had to get out of bed before we get their locker.
Yeah.
That was a problem.
Yeah.
Leaving the second one, that wasn't too good. I mean, you still didn't have much room
That's where
in here.
I was on the second.
Yeah. I think that's where I was too.
And why did it stink being on the second?
The second wasn't so bad. The bottom one was worse because it was three lockers. There's
three high.
Yeah, you had the beds were tube steel with canvas and rope tied around it.
Yeah.
Hold it tight, and that's what you slept on. So the person at the very bottom, keep from hitting the bottom of the bottom.
The guy below you, you know, if there's anybody below you.
Tickling your back.
Yeah. So each bed had a little locker, and the bottom bunk was over top of lockers. So if you needed in there, he always had to come out, lift it up so you can get into your locker and put it down. So,
Well, the nice part is if you took a roll or something, you know, and that bunk was sagging down like that, it can sag farther, you know.
Oh. Just rope was all we got.
Yeah. Well, when I was on there, you know, I had an extra radar on there, so it was actually top heavy. Oh. You know, the radar picking.
So it did more rolling.
And so, yeah. I don't know what it was. I think it was at least a 42.5 degree roll. I've heard there was some of them that went farther than that.
Well, the thing that did the roll track was only went up to 45.
Yeah, yeah.
So
right. So
you could have buried it.
You wouldn't know. Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Because everybody's holding on.
Yeah.
At that point, keep them sliding sideways.
All it really mattered to was like a screw. The way that, you know, I mean, you had a pivot back and forth.
It's just a bubble.
Yeah, a bubble. Well, they had a bubble. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one had a bubble.
Yeah. What were you there? What did you do there?
BT.
Were you boiler check?
Yeah.
Okay. Snipe.
Yeah. Snipe.
I was a decade.
Okay.
Up in the deck.
Well, that was the only good part when they took a roll and you had to watch. We were down here, so you didn't move very far. You guys up on the bridge or something like that, you got the whole. Yeah. Well, you know, it goes a lot farther up here than the tree, you know.
I didn't like going down there because I had to wind the clocks down there. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You guys always looking for somebody to grease their ass all the time. I'm not kidding you. I mean, literally, they tackle you and they take a handful of grease. They wipe it all over your ass and they run. You can't wash that stuff off.
Why? Why?
They just did because they were controllers down there, and they were grease monkeys. You know.
We went across the equator. They had a Royal Barber, you know. They take that same grease and put it on. They'd shave your hair off, maybe a circle or whatever. They picked up the hair and put it back on your head with that grease, you know. Or the guy had a mustache. Yeah, one guy. He had a mustache about that thick, you know. He was really proud of it. And they cut half of it off.
Yeah. Whenever you go across the equator, you have to go through initiation to become a Shelby. But if you're already a Shelby, you get to do all this stuff to the new people who's becoming a Shelby. So they come up with all kinds of stuff.
What else besides the grease and the butt crack?
They would take a box and put it on the deck. And they passed the word that we call it a sea-bat. And if you want to see it come up from the forecastle, there's no such thing as a sea-bat. Everyone knows that. So they come up, he got his hands and knees, and he said, "Be careful now, don't let him out." And he looked at that, took up that corner, and he swat him with a broom. Real hard. And we had this one dude on there. He lifted up, swat him with a broom, and he jerked back. "Hey man, stop doing that to me! I'm trying to look at the sea-bat." He went back a second time and swatted him again. See, the deck gates would go down in the hole, they called it with these guys, the boiler technicians and machinist mates, and they'd grease their ass if they could. But when they come up, they didn't know any better either. We put them on the forecastle and stand them in a 55-gallon drum of water and gave them 2 Coke bottle glasses and told them they're on mail buoy watch. They had to look for mail buoys. You could only see it through these glasses. Everybody was taking pictures of them. Standing in water up the ear, looking through Coke bottle glasses, trying to find a mail buoy.
We had other ways of getting back at you guys, you know. You'd be out there painting the deck, you know, and we'd call for blowing tubes, what they call blowing tubes, which is the heat steam lance. The tubes in the boiler, and it had soot and everything.
Coming out there.
Okay.
Sure.
Guess where it went? It went back this way, and aft deck especially, and it went in there new paint.
Okay.
And then not only that, we had some of these officers up there that had new white shirts on. They hollered down there. Well, there wasn't anything to do because we have to call up get permission.
Yeah.
Well, when they give you permission, hey. That's it. You crank that thing around, all that soot that come out there. Yeah, it went over good.
You were
like a lead balloon.
You were all laughing.
Yeah, but in '76, when we were on our way to Cuba, and we went through a hurricane at that time. It was a really bad one. We went down so far that the water went down the number 1 smokestack, the front smokestack, and put the boilers out.
Oh man!
And so fortunately, we had the other 2 boilers still going, the aft boilers going. Because if that would have went out, we went sideways. We've been dead meat. Dead meat.
Did they have like lifeboats and stuff? Like if the ship were to go down, could you have all fit on lifeboats?
Yeah, but in a situation like that, it wouldn't have been. We would have rolled over.
And just been stuck in it,
we just all
upside
died.
down.
Yeah.
Quickly.
There would have been no time to think.
You're lucky you were on 4 boilers though.
Right.
Normally they only ran 2.
No, we were on 4 because of the storm.
Yeah.
We were the smallest ship in the 6th fleet.
Normally you only do 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Normally, because you only have enough guys for a watch in each fire room. You know, you've got one down below on the burners and a head watch, and then you've got one up has to watch steam on top. They had steam and water, and you had a gauge about that tall and about that wide, and you had to keep it at a certain level, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a little bit of water hitting the turbines, why kind of
They got
blow
all.
up, you know.
They got all the fresh water.
Yeah.
We got salt water. We had to shower in. Boilers had to have all that.
Why does it matter? Salt water, so you get sticky.
Yeah, salt on you when you're done. But in good times, we got able to take a freshwater shower. But only when their water came first. Had to keep the ship going.
Oh yeah, down the hot boiler.
Got to run the ship.
Yeah.
Were they higher rank, or they just got the luck of the draw,
No.
better job?
That's not a better job. Those snipes, you guys are hot down there, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hot in the Caribbean. They had air blowing on you. That was it.
Well, yeah, but it came from outside,
Right.
so
It was
it's
90
100
outside.
degrees outside, and it added to whatever. When we went down across the equator, it stayed 120 degrees down there all the time, because you had all that heat coming in, you know, from outside. Everybody had a heat rash, even the black guys. They don't get heat rash.
I didn't know that.
They sit there and they
Yeah.
rubbing that Calamine lotion on.
Oh yeah, sure.
Did you ever have heat rash?
No. No, I was up at the top deck. I was out there sunbathing.
difference.
Those guys down there sweating their ass off.
Yeah, you got used. We got used to it, you know.
Oh, you guys did.
Yeah,
And
sure.
every time when they bring somebody new on there, the guys come down. Oh, I'll never be able to. I said the same thing. I said I'll never be able to. And I worked out in the heat because I worked on farms up on a wagon, you know, and in the barns where it was hotter than heck, but
You
it was
adjusted.
still hot. But you had to drink coffee, otherwise you get the bends. And you drink cold water or something. Man, it'd about tear your stomach up, like eating ice cream. You know, only in your stomach.
Wow. Okay.
So you don't. That's the reason everybody drank coffee down there. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
I drank bug juice,
Yeah, bug juice.
What's bug juice?
Kool-Aid, out of a bowl. You never had enough glasses, or drink out of a cereal bowl. And you stick it on there and it squirts in there, you know. It's got the thing swirling up. That's a treat back then, man.
Kool-Aid in a bowl.
Yeah, that was a treat. Bug juice.
Yep.
Sliders.
That's it. Yep.
Sliders were hamburgers. They slid right down. You had to chew them. And there was one time I was watching them. I was watching through the corner. It was a breakfast time, and I was watching that cook. He was a.
In the steam kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was stirring something in there. He had like the stir was like a paddle on a rowboat.
Right, yeah.
And he's stirring it, and I see him going like that in that thing.
Well, hey, I worked.
Did you eat it?
No, I don't even know what it was. It was for the noon meal or something.
Oh.
And for six weeks, I think it was, and you had to peel potatoes, and my hands still got lines in them from peeling potatoes. That starch in there, yeah, peel 100 pounds of potatoes a shift, you know.
Okay.
And
that's a lot.
and that stuff, man, they crack and bleed.
Oh, gee, I didn't realize
Because
that.
right after I started to get off of it, I think about the last few days they got in a potato peeler.
Okay.
It's about that big around, and it has like
They did have one when I was on.
Yeah, it had a grit in it, and it swirled
okay.
around, and it just
Sure.
you know, tore
Yeah.
the skin off the
Yeah.
potatoes, and then
Yeah.
it was flushed with water the whole time.
Oh, makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
but
Okay. But
we had
that was after.
this Mexican cook, and I was cracking eggs up there, putting that big steam kettle you're talking about. And some of them were black. They were in there in the 1940s, in the 60s, and these were fresh eggs in cartons, you know, big things. Boxes, you know.
Yeah.
And some of them were black.
Ooh.
And I was throwing them away. He said,
Yeah.
"Nah, don't do that." And put them in the steam kettle.
Really?
And he had these big bottles of hot sauce, and he was pouring them hot sauce in there, and like you say, he's stirring that thing up, you
You
know.
would never know.
I didn't eat any.
No.
And another day.
No, the
cook.
cooks never ate their own food. They always cooked something
Well, they
separate
had
off
their-
to the side.
Yeah, well, they saved the best stuff, you
Sure.
know. I always had the best. They had grade C meat because everybody else got the good stuff on the bigger ships, you know, because that's where they kept it. And
Oh.
highlined it over or
Okay.
brought it over a helicopter or something, dropped it in, you know. And anyway, he had a big roast. Just took it out of the oven, set it on top. And we took a roll and it went bang right down on the floor, you know. He picks it up and throws it back in there and sets it back up on the stove, you know. But the floor was clean, you know. I mean, there were tile floors, and you had to wash them down there, you know,
All the
every
time.
shift. And
Yeah.
I mean, the only two people who were in there was
Oh.
somebody that was best cooking and the cook himself.
Oh, okay.
So
wasn't terrible.
it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
We ate it. Anyway.
No 15, what,
They're
the
still
5
here.
second rule or something? Hadn't heard of that.
He was up the deck with me. Radio men and quartermasters were up there at the top.
Yeah, them radio man, I tell you.
Still one.
Still one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All these
Yeah,
years.
ham radio used to play around with.
Yeah. Ham bone.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ham radio?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We ran out of supplies a lot.
Really?
Oh, we ran out of toilet paper even. They rationed out 4 little sheets as you stepped in the bathroom.
You
They gave you 4.
you probably had Midras though, didn't you?
Sometimes.
We never had any.
Oh, we had
Ne-
them.
They didn't even offer them back then.
What's a midrest?
If you had to watch,
Meals
if you had to watch at
prepared
night,
already.
yeah, if you had to watch at night,
Yeah.
there wasn't anything to eat. You know, you got hungry. You know,
Right.
we'd go up and swipe bread. The cook, he was in there making these big loaves of bread. You know, and they had a locker across the hall from them. You know, and it had stainless steel shelves in there, and they put them in there to cool.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we'd sneak up there and look, you know, and
Oh,
grab
grab
a
one.
loaf of bread and
Take
run
off.
off and go down the hole and you know, he ain't gonna come down there anyway, so we'd eat bread, we'd have some butter, we'd swipe from the galley. And
You were doing all right.
the funny part was it come my turn to get it one night. So I slipped up there and looked, and there he was sitting in a chair looking right out at it. I said, oh no, I'm not going to be able to get it tonight. So I went back down. I told this guy that was down there with me, and a little black guy from Ohio, near not too far from where I live. And he said, homie, I said, I can't get it tonight. I said, I'll go get some. So he was gone for a couple of minutes. He came back down there carrying 2 handfuls of chocolate cake.
Oh.
He couldn't get the bread.
Oh, but he found.
They'd put a cake in there for either the chiefs or lieutenants or somebody. And he had just scooped it right up out of there. And how he got down the ladder, down a steep ladder. I mean, it went up like this.
Right,
you
with
know,
his hands.
and you had to hold on the handrails to get down there. How he got all the way down there, still holding that. We had some nice chocolate cake that night.
There you go.
Did you ever steal any food, Dad?
Yeah, I went into the lifeboats, and they had food in those that were for emergencies. I took the candies and the cigarettes and everything out of those packages and bundled it back up again.
So if there was an emergency, no one would have
No one had
food
nothing
to
to
eat.
eat. They go in there and there'd be nothing in there. You think that everything's all squared away and perfect, you know, and they're taking care of the military. They took good care of us, but there was times where you just had to take action in your own hands. I got on it the day you arrived back from Greece. That's when I reported aboard. And I thought, you know, they went on Liberty for, I think, 14 days, I think, to give everybody a break because they just got back to the United States. So I'm reporting on board right out of boot camp. And I'm thinking, man, this is going to be duck soup, man. Come and go whenever you want, you know?
Then Liberty was over.
Yeah. See, relative bearing, Greece, relative bearing is, you know, relative bearing is when you say this is 0, 0, 0, and that'd be 0, 9, 0, 0, 8, 0, 2, 7, 0. It'd be relative bearing, right?
It's relative to the direction you're going.
Yeah, so it really, that had nothing to do with Greece. Okay, but bearing, the word bearing is in there. So whenever we wanted somebody to get their ass greased, we'd send them down to the hole and say, go ask for some relative bearing grease to grease our doors up here. And they'd go down there and they'd ask, you got some relative bearing grease? Yeah. And they knew right away, the snipes knew right away, this guy's gonna get it. And they'd tackle him and pull his pants down and grease his ass. There's your relative bearing grease. And they'd all run. And he's stuck with this stuff. He goes to the shower, and you can't shower it off because it repels water. Yeah.
It was just, we're just kids.
Just having fun.
We're just young guys. I mean, we don't care. We don't know nothing, and you know. But it was
Nothing else to do out
yeah,
there.
nothing else to do.
We were in the Sixth Fleet, we were in a convoy, and one of the ships had a man overboard. And they didn't know when he went over, they just knew he was missing.
Yeah, yeah.
So they sent us to go back and try to find him. So hours we went trying to track him and find him, and this guy showed up after all. He wasn't man overboard.
Oh.
So we had to turn around and catch up, and we turned on all 4 boilers and put that thing flank speed to catch up with them, and they clocked us. I think it was going 42 knots.
Really?
The wood, full flank, as fast as that. The water was coming up over the fantail.
Yeah.
Right up over the fantail. You couldn't go back there because it was all water, just from stirring it up. Yeah.
When you're going that fast in the ship, the fantail dips down below the water level, actually, because it bites into it, and then and the bow comes up and she picks up, and you could actually see the water higher on both sides of the ship.
She was shaking, man.
Shaking.
It was shaking, vibrating. The whole ship was vibrating. Yeah. But they clocked us. The carrier clocked us going, I think, I don't know if they rounded it, if they converted it to 42 miles an hour, or if it was 42 knots, probably more like 42 miles an hour, something 30 something
They
knots.
did something in Fram for you guys because we couldn't do it.
Cause that was, and they said that it was the fastest ship in the 6th Fleet outside of the carrier. So they did something. That little sucker could move.
You weren't on it when it was decommissioned, were you?
Yeah, I was the beginning of the decommissioning crew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got the toolbox off of the ship that's got it all
did you
engraved
really?
on there, USS Wood. So he gave me I got the toolbox off of it. And a buddy of mine got the front flag, the Foxhole flag.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The last time it came down, as part of the ship deck logs, but then they flew me over to Naples before it was totally decommissioned.
Yeah.
So
It was
I was
decommissioned in Med?
no, it got decommissioned in Norfolk.
Oh, Norfolk, okay.
Yeah, then they mothballed it,
Yeah.
and then they told it.
It's just fishing reef.
Yeah, they put it underwater. Yeah, but I was part of the decommissioning, and then I wanted to be all the way through it, but they, I don't know, maybe to do some stupid stuff. They flew me over to Naples, Italy, and I got on board an amphibious ship, only to steam it back to Norfolk.
Don't ask.
On a commercial flight.
You don't ask.
On a commercial
Thanks for
flight, they
the
flew
ride,
me.
it was nice, yeah.
Only to come back, and
Yeah.
I could have just stayed there, just
Yeah,
left over, you know.
You don't ask.
Little Creek. And the stories, I feel it was a real privilege being on a tin can, because I got transferred to an amphibious ship after that. It is different. The
Yeah.
tin can, everybody knew everybody, because we
It
had,
was a camaraderie on the ship where everybody knew the guys.
we're so small,
Yeah.
you run into everybody all the time, and you got to
Yeah.
know them. Where
Yeah.
the ship I was on, we carried 2,000 Marines, and, you know, it was just different. I didn't like it when I was transferred to that. I wanted to go back on a tin can again.
You knew all the guys. You knew where they were from, and if you went on Liberty, sometimes you'd go home with them, and some guys would go home with others and stuff like that. No, everybody knew everybody, you
Yeah.
know, and we had a couple of black guys with radarmen and everything like that. We got along great. We were on
Same
Liberty.
here.
Everybody got along with everybody. Even the Southern guys, they got over it after a while, you know, everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think they did anyway.
I went home with a
It
Southern
never
guy.
bothered me. It never bothered me. I grew
Yeah.
up in a school with 75.
Yeah, I had a Southern guy take me to his, I'm from Michigan, and he was from Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, and that was pretty close to Norfolk, and I got to be pretty good friends with him. He was a snipe, I was a deck ape.
Yeah.
And he took me home to his house for a weekend and went bar hopping with him,
Yeah.
you know, and then came back to the ship. Two totally different
Yeah.
everything, but there was no difference. I mean, it was.
I've heard about you guys were like Mikhail's Navy down there in Greece.
Yes, it was.
Because you guys had to get your act straightened up when you got back to Norfolk, because they were sloppy as all can be. You know, that's when I reported on board. And I was in I was our boot camp, so I was all perfectly clean. They used me as an example. They had me stand out and said, I want everybody looking like this young man right here. And everything was shined up, because I just out of boot camp, man. I didn't have a big paint on myself or nothing, you know. And everybody else their hair was down to here. They were standing like this.
Yeah, it was, nobody messed with us, we never stood in inspection, nothing.
Right, I heard all that.
You know, I mean, that was.
But that turned, and people had to get all new uniforms and get haircuts and learn how to stand in detention again. And the tension on deck was all, they kind of got away from that earlier.
Well, we did a radio, but when the old man came. Yeah.
Oh, when the old man came in. The captain used me as I mean, I stood there just like you do in boot camp, man, they scare the shit out of you, you know? And so I'm just reporting on, and I was just as clean and shaved, and my hat was perfect, and I looked straight ahead, and, you know, never veered. You know, everybody else around me was just kind of sloppy. And he pulled me right out. He's going, everybody look at my shoes and my shirt and everything. Look at this young man. We got to get our act together again. So Interesting story behind that too, because you know when you had your company, you had your sister company across from boot camp. I had a quartermaster, first class. That was our company commander, and one next to us. I don't know where he was, but he was a black guy, and he was a first class. He was a mean dude, and he was so mean to his own people. Sometimes he'd come over hours at 2 o'clock in the morning and make us get up and jumping jacks and everything, and he was sent to that amphibious ship that I was on when I was about ready to get off. He had just served time the way he was recruiting. He got in trouble. They held that company over. They court-martialed him, and he broke him down to an E3. So I was an E4. So I was in charge of him, and he was my commander in boot camp. And he was just putting his time. He had like 18 or 19 years in when he was all this trouble, and they didn't want to discharge him, so they just busted him down to an E3 and let him spend the rest of his time on the ship that he retired. But yeah, I ran into him. His name was Washington. And I said, I know you used to come over to our and make us do jumping jacks at 2 o'clock in the morning. He goes, I was one of Rand's. He goes, oh, you're one of his? I said, yeah. He goes, yeah. He goes, that wasn't some of my best times, man. He goes, I got busted. And he was drinking all the time. He'd be drunk. And he'd come out of the bar at 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe.
So it's like,
oh, man, he just raised hell with everybody, man. He'd come over, and his people wasn't enough. He had to come over and do it to us, too, you know? But he did. He reported on my ship.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, as an E3. And I was an E4 then.
You could have had him do all kinds of things.
No, and I was the only one, you know. But he told me the story, and he felt really bad. And he had one more year. He spent, I think, 2 years in prison. But he got busted. For 2 years, yeah.
What do you know what he did?
He beat on a lot of people. He beat on them, you know. And I know that. Again, it was early in the morning, and he's just mean, you know.
Yeah, well, if he's a drunk and stuff, that really well.
Yeah, and he would come in, and while he was drunk, and we all knew it. I mean, he was just, you could smell it, you could see it, you know. But he was mean, you know. When he was drunk, just mean. And you know, we had to go in boot camp. You'd submit to everything and everyone, you know. You didn't dare. You didn't dare look wrong. And he took advantage of that, mostly with his people.
Why did they call it a tin can?
Because it floated around the water like an empty tin can, bounced all over the place. Because it was so small. Hot bunket means you report on board and there's more people than there are bunks. So when somebody goes on watch, say from 8 o'clock at night to midnight watch, you sleep in their bunk. When he comes back from midnight watch, whoever relieved him from midnight to 4 in the morning, you go sleep in that guy's bunk. And then whoever goes from 4 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, you got to sleep in that guy's bunk, and you work all day.
Pretty disgusting. It's as disgusting as it sounds.
And you had to do that how long?
I had to do that for a couple weeks.
Like maybe have 3 different beds in one night?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You just tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, you gotta get out of
Yeah.
here. It's my turn to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you knew where to go next to find your next bed, or you just looked?
Well, yeah, because
for an empty
I'd
bed?
wake up. No, he would wake me up, say, I'm in bed, and I said, who relieved you? And he'll say, over there. And so I go over there, and be an empty bed, crawl in there.
It's called hot bunk because when that guy crawled in, the warmth of your body made it hot for him.
I guess so.
Cool.
What'd you do with your belongings then? They couldn't. Did you have to?
Sea bag leaned up against the bulkhead somewhere.
Just some.
Look through the sea bag.
Was that were all your belongings in this sea bag?
Everything. And the sheets are supposed to be white, but they're like this color. Ship was 400 feet long.
Your ship was.
Yeah. Enlisted.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So the ship had 260 guys on it?
Yeah, and probably 230 bunks. I know there was 259 at least. It wasn't enough for me. And then when they discharge people or move them to another ship or something, you know, jump on that rack and take it before anybody else would. That's off the catwalk, isn't it?
My hand's got pizza on it, but I just want to take a picture of this one.
You stood in line there, and that's what you looked at going down to the chow hall. Right
That
there.
was the good thing. I got,
What was your cleaning space? Read over the names.
My what?
Cleaning space. Yeah.
Cleaning
What did
space.
you have cleaning?
Oh, it had the bridge. All that brass had to be polished.
Oh my
It
God.
was brass again?
Yeah.
When Ross left, they broke the whole crew up after the Scorpion. They didn't want anybody to know whatever we were supposedly found out. But they just sent the crew everywhere. They gave me a 5-1 cup. Sent me home.
Oh, wow.
Now we had to clean the catwalks up on the bridge itself.
For painting, yeah.
Yeah, painting and get all the rust
But
off.
when Ross left,
They had
good idea.
the demagnetizer or something in the chart room too, where you flipped a switch and it made the ship non-magnetic for mines.
Degaussing.
Degaussing.
Degaussing?
They had that in there. They had a Loran. They have a Loran in there with you there?
Oh, yeah.
Loran. And the fathometer. Dead reckoning is when you're going at 15 knots at 090. You're charting that out every 10 or 15 minutes where you are. And it's accurate, but it's not the point. But as long as you're going 15 knots, you're okay. But if you're only going 13, you're supposed to be going 15, you're going to be a little bit ahead. But when you got the bottom of the ocean to follow along with that, you're okay. Oh, was it? I think that's what we played it during refueling. It was Woody Woodpecker. After, when we were taking off from the refueler.
Yeah, right?
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh, they
should remember, you know.
Yeah.
They maybe
We were chasing one of their submarines, and that was their way out. Is going to the Black Sea, and we weren't going to let go of them. So we stayed right on them until they sent aircraft from land to chase us out. And they were really close to us because soot was falling on our ship from the aircraft, and we were going like that. So the captain said, "Turn around and go back." That means the sub won. I came across in '77, I think, with a GPS that they put on the chart table in the chart room. This is a different ship though, and cables going to an antenna, and it was digital readout. It was clicking all the time, but it was size of this table practically. It's huge, you know. But they told me that was the first GPS.
Yeah. Well, if they had the 3 satellites
Jim and his wife
in '67,
that were doing that work. They probably had more than that a year or so later.
Yeah, this one there was no satellite requirements. I mean, to use it, they used it all the way from the Mediterranean to the United States, and it was all civilians that was operating it. So there were probably more satellites by then.
No, he's from
So
it was how accurate at that time?
Accuracy was with about 5 miles
His dad used to come
out in the middle of the ocean, which was really good because, hell, you and I were out there shooting stars. If we got a triangle, we were happy, you know, let alone 3 of them across on the mark.
First time I did, I got a triangle. I didn't get a triangle.
You got 3 points?
Yeah, 3
No
points.
kidding.
Well, they don't do the stuff. The tables they were using weren't any good. And when you did them, you would have a parabolic, you know, being a point here for every minute that you had.
Yeah.
But when you had a good set of tables, since it was a parabolic, you would have to go and use 4 of them, figure out where the parabolic was, and you could get the fixes a lot better. And when you're doing it in surveying, you would do it and get a good fix, And then you would do it all over again using that as your assumed position. And then do it again. By 4 times, you can get down to about 10 or 15 feet. But you'd understand, how big is a second? A second of latitude is 102.28 feet. 1 second of arc. You know, it's like, how can you get a thing with stars?
Do you remember Beetlejuice? That was my favorite star.
That's where it is.
That's where it is. Yeah. That was we always use Beetlejuice as
Right.
our star.
You could see, it was the first one you could see.
Yeah.
Unless Venus was up.
Right. Yeah.
You could see
And you did your Asmus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they probably had stuff that would do it automatically.
No, I
because he
had to
still
go
did.
out.
Did you?
You had to go out with the wind.
The wind, the sea
Then
state,
look at the
cloud
clouds,
state,
sea, water temperature,
and the wet ball,
wet ball,
and
dry
the
ball.
barometer.
Yeah,
It
wet ball
was a
barometer.
form you filled out every day.
And they made me go out there even when there was a hurricane one time. I'd go out on a catwalk. I got down really low.
We were in a
Turn that thing
hurricane
on
for
down
4
there.
days.
Huh?
We were in a hurricane for 4 days looking for the scorpions.
Yeah,
We took a 50-degree roll.
Yeah.
And we almost lost the ship. Everybody on the bridge was on the starboard side. All the rubber rugs were over there. And I had my leg beside, I was on the log. And the log is about that far off of the bulkhead. And I stuck my knee in there. And when she took the roll, I was still up on top.
I would step on the wall and run right down the floor and go back up the other side.
Everybody was on the starboard side up against the door. She went over that far. And then you remember that basic training, they showed you that bad day at sea. Well,
yeah.
In the Second World War, 2 destroyers were running alongside the aircraft carrier with Halsey. And they went over a big wave and they took a 50-degree roll. And steam went down in the engine room, cracked the boats in half, and they were both gone in 7 seconds. And when that ship took that roll, I was thinking, how in the hell am I going to get that port hatch open and get out of this boat before it goes on?
Yeah, that fast.
But I was really stuck. My knee was hard stuck into that hole.
Yeah, you were always in the village anyway.
Were you lucky to become a quartermaster, or did you strike for it?
So, I signed up for construction battalion. I wanted to be a CB. And when I got out of boot camp, I was all ready to be a CB, right? That was my dream sheet. I put that down. I thought I was signing up for it. Next thing I knew, they were sending me to Orlando, Florida to go to quartermaster school. I said, what the hell is quartermaster? You know? They assigned it to me.
The guy that goes to the store and buys the supplies. That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Army supplies.
That was the Army supply.
Yeah.
My dad was a tugboat captain. My grandfather was a captain. And my great-grandfather owned steamships. So I wanted to be, but I had been handling lines on my dad's tugboat as a kid. And I said, well, I know what lines and ropes are. I'll do that.
So they assigned you quartermaster too?
Wait, when I told him I could shoot stars a hell of a lot better than he could, the XO changed my rating right on the spot.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was going to be, but I figured it out pretty quick.
I had no idea what it was. No idea. Yeah, they said, well, you're going to be shooting stars, Rick. I said, what do you mean shooting stars? You know, first thought,
Shooting.
Yeah. No. You're going to be looking through a sextant. Okay. But it was good duty. I mean, out at sea, you spent a lot of time.
Huh?
Out at sea, you had a lot of time on the bridge, though.
On the bridge, what if you've been in the engine room?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You never see daylight.
Right. A lot of heat.
Yeah.
That's why you never see engine room people with these real design reasons.
We don't see engine room people here.
And it was nice to be able to see out those windows all the time.
Yeah.
At the bridge.
At the windows.
All the time. We could go up there
Wasn't
anytime
nice
we
keeping
wanted.
the salt off of them.
Huh?
Wasn't nice keeping the salt off of all them windows.
Right, right.
And I didn't particularly like when the ship would go down like this and the water would come up like this.
That's where the salt in the windows come in at.
Yeah, I didn't care for that. I think that's the only time I took a message up there that it was that bad. And that's never again.
I got 3 pictures from the signal bridge taking greenies over the bridge. I got put on report for that.
Highest, had a little shack up there.
And the water came over it.
Yeah.
We were going into 40-foot waves.
Oh, yeah,
It
swells.
would be going up at about 2.5 knots. We'd get to the top and you'd be going down at 11. At 11 degrees down, 11 degrees up, going down at 11 knots. Then you would go into that next wave and stop. And you would come up again. In the meantime, you're rolling 30 degrees right and left. And we did that for 4 days.
Your feet would leave the deck when you went up like this and down.
Yeah.
And then if you weren't careful going up and down those ladders, you got squished. You had to hit those just right.
Oh, Captain did that?
We had a skunk Bravo one morning, or something, and it was a steady bearing decreasing range. She was at 15 degrees, and she was there. And every time we got to the top of the wave, she was there again. Same damn bearing, you know. And we're holding straight into the waves. You don't turn because the ship will fall in the trough. And she had been there quite a while. Looked like we were going to hit. Lieutenant Loving had to watch, and it was getting to be late. And he got nervous and gave the command right 10 degrees rudder. And all we did when he did that is slide right into the trough. And then you could hear screaming down below, and the captain came up to the ladder. Just as he got to the ladder, we went over the wave, and it went down, and he went right into the overhead. Busted a tooth, cut his eye. I don't know what happened to Lieutenant Loving. I never saw him again.
A lot of sailors on the Wood got real good compensating for those ups and downs, you know, so straight up and down ladder with a hole about this big at the top. When that ship went down, you could pull yourself up, shoot yourself up out of there, and open your legs and land on your side of that.
Yeah, land right on the upper deck.
Yeah, but if you weren't, if your timing was bad, you were in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so let them come down that way, just you go.
Oh yeah.
And break.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's the one they used to dance all the time. They always dance together.
Yeah, you can slide down those hangers, just land, and not even lose a step. Yeah. I still try to do that
I
in
was
hotels and stuff.
just gonna say
Except
that.
way out here with them.
You've seen him do that. Yeah, you've seen him do that. He still does try. I used to be able to, you know.
We were in rough seas, and the captain, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I had the midnight shift. Captain came up, was sitting in his chair, and he puked all over the bridge. I said, son of a bitch. He was quartermaster. Go get
you're rich.
Yeah, quartermaster, go get a bucket and sponge. And I just spitting all the way. I was so mad. You know, why couldn't he go on the catwalk
What
or
was
something?
his name? Does the same one?
McLaren, no.
McLaren?
Yeah, McLean.
Well,
So-
Ross was the captain until late '68, and then he left the boat and he put in, I think, McLaren. Somebody like that.
Yeah, this McLaren.
A rather chubby guy.
A little bit.
A little bit
He
chubby.
came from shore duty. This was his first ship. He was a commanding officer.
Well, he was just, and you were there when he got the command?
Yeah.
So after you came out of the
I got the bucket and I got on my hands and knees and started cleaning up, and he tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, "I'll get that." That's bad when the commanding officer gets sick, man. That's.
When Ross left.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not Beetlejuice. It's Belgies. That's what they even said on that Broadway show.
Oh, did they? I didn't
Yeah.
catch it.
Yeah.
You got a Star Chart?
Oh no. No, I haven't. Oh yeah, you mean an app where you can point it at it, your camera at it, and tell you where it is? Yeah, I do got that.
Yeah.
I do
Of course
have
you
that.
got that.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which one you got?
How could you have been a quartermaster?
Yeah, which one you got?
I don't know. This one.
I got the same one. Yeah, I got the same one.